Okay, so first question. I mean, this is actually just a little icebreaker. So like, tell me about like what led you to becoming a lawyer? Like what made you make that decision? And then what was it like getting yourself to where you are now today?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'll keep it short. I actually studied engineering before I went into law. I was studying mechatronics engineering at the University of Ontario, which is in Oshawa. Not a lot of people know where that school is. So in my third year of engineering, I took 2 electives, and one of the electives was criminal justice. I'm like, I want to be a criminal defense attorney. I want to defend innocent people. That was like my main objective, to become a criminal lawyer. So in my third year, I spoke to my parents. I'm like, I'm switching out of engineering. Both of them were pissed. They're like, you're like, no, you got to go. You're not meant for law. You don't have the mindset for law, because I was kind of like a reserved kid, right? Like, and not much of a. I didn't like confrontation. So whatever, so I switched to criminology, I ended up doing an extra year at UIT, and then went to law school in Windsor. Now, mind you, I wanted to become a criminal lawyer, but then I realized that criminal law was one of those areas of law where you had to kind of have the stomach for it. So taking a couple classes in criminal law, I'm like, maybe I got to deviate away from this. Long story short, I ended up doing litigation, realized that wasn't for me, did family law, realized that wasn't for me. And then once I touched real estate, I'm like, I actually enjoy this. I like investing in real estate. I like every aspect of real estate, and I never looked back. So this is back in probably 2017, 2018, up until now. Real estate law is all that I've done, and I'm enjoying it. I love it. There's never a dull moment in real estate law.
You know what's crazy? So in your answer, I love that you included the different types that you tried before landing on real estate law, because like I'm a big believer in the fact that like you just gotta try different things, and like getting like, you know how like there's this saying like no answer is an answer, or like no reply is a reply. Like you found out what doesn't work for you and it led you to what does.
100%.
And that's why like when people are like, oh, like I don't know what to do, and they're like just not doing anything, they're not trying anything, I'm like, that's really your biggest problem there, is like you're doing nothing. It's inaction that's gonna get you no results. And every time you get to cross something off the list, it really just kind of reduces it down to what is remaining that ends up being the right answer. So like honestly, like the fact that you ended up there, it could have been the first choice that you chose and it would have worked out. But like if you just said, okay, you went to the first one, you think you said litigation.
So I did personal injury, which is essentially car accidents, slip and falls, dog bites. And I'm like, I can't do this.
Like hurting a car, call William Mattar.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So, and there, don't get me wrong, there was money in personal injury, but I'm just like, I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And yeah, you're right. I tried many things, and a lot of people are like, oh, why do you keep jumping around from one area of law to another? Just stick with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be miserable my whole life, right?
It's
and
true.
Real estate law stuck.
So it's funny because...
Sorry to interrupt. One thing that I want you guys to do and be mindful of is just when one person asks you a question, when you're done answering, just say, what about you?
What about you? Okay, cool.
So Nikhil, now that you've done, give Roy an opportunity.
Okay, got you.
On the same topic, when Robinson gets here, we want to give him an opportunity.
Okay.
On the same conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like everyone's trying to get.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
We're not going to put out the full episode.
Of course. Yeah.
Let's get to know Nikhil type of podcast.
Yeah.
Let's hear some answer. And
of course. Yeah.
Opinion on similar topics.
I like that.
Because now what it's going to do is like it's going to make for a better collab post, and like people going down the rabbit hole, they're not going to be able to find the full episode, but if we like collab with
Yeah, you can link them.
like, oh yeah, let me see what
You can follow the combo.
on same. And what we'll do with the covers is make it like the same, like the similar title,
Okay.
but this person's perspective.
Okay.
This perspective, it'll be dope.
Okay. Done.
Cool.
Yeah. So what about? Is it still recording or?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be recording the whole time.
So what about yourself, Royston? What led you down the path of becoming a mortgage broker?
So it's funny because I kind of got to being a mortgage broker by way of doing a couple other things beforehand, kind of like your story, but like trying something, identifying what I did like about it, and then pivoting to something else, finding what I liked about that new thing, and then just kind of blending everything together. So initially for me, I actually went to school for accounting. And I chose accounting as a 17-year-old because I was like, okay, who makes the most money? Accountants make a lot of money. Okay, I'm going to do accounting. And I started and I hated it. I was like, yo, this is trash. Like, I cannot picture myself in a cubicle for 8 hours a day doing this every single day. I'm like, I will end my days. And I was like, okay, like what can I pivot to? So I did business administration, something more broad, something a little bit more, it felt more interpersonal. Because I was always like, a charismatic, talkative person, and graduated with it. I trooped it out, got my degree, made my mom proud. I was like, all right, cool, done. And then I started to do what job I was able to get from that diploma. And I'm like, this is not it. So I started doing YouTube for like shits and giggles. Because again, I'm like, okay, I want to entertain. I liked getting in front of a camera. I did a lot of drama throughout school as well. And I had like the YouTube channel, just doing like fun, playful stuff in the midst of like my day-to-day. Then I started working at the bank. And I was just a teller, like nothing crazy at the bank, interacting with people. And I really developed a lot of relationships with the people that were like the regulars that come in, because I was more talkative than the rest. And like I was personable. And like you see so many different walks of life. Like I remember I had like many relationships with like lawyers that came in doing deals for whatever transactions they had. Then you got like, you know, the old lady that comes in every day just to like tap up her overdraft. And it's like, okay, like I'm just learning different things in a multitude of different areas. And then I started to share that financial stuff on my YouTube channel. And I've always had like a little bit of a good financial background, like just being like smart with money to a degree. And I bought my house like out of nowhere, because I knew that I was saving my money, but people didn't really take me seriously from a financial standpoint. And then when I bought my house and I announced it on my channel, they're like, what? Like this guy bought a house? Like how? So I started sharing how, and also sharing what I was learning at the bank and giving people tips on how they could replicate the same thing if they had that interest. And the pandemic came, lost my job. I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's just do full-time YouTube, I guess, just to pass the time. Then I found out I was becoming a dad. And I was like, oh, shit, life's getting serious. Let's get a big boy job. But then also realizing that job security was clearly a myth, literally losing my job on a dime. So I'm like, okay, like let me bet on myself and find a way to kind of take everything that I do like, or the things that I've done so far up to this point. So there's real estate, there's content creation, and there was finances. And I was like, okay, like let's be a mortgage agent. And also having the experience of buying my house, I had a mortgage broker. It was a terrible experience. And I was like, okay, like now that I have the house and I've gone through that process as a consumer, I'm like, I could do that job 1,000 times better. And I remember that every single day I be like in my job today, because I'm like, I want to outdo that person that fumbled my transaction, because I know that there's plenty of people in my position back then today that I want to make sure that they don't have that same experience. So that's how I got here.
That's a good answer. Yeah. Okay.
Long-winded, but fuck.
It's part of the game, man.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy also like the journeys and stuff that like I guess the side quests.
Yeah.
And they all feel like a side quest until like one hits, and then all of a sudden the side quest becomes the main quest.
Facts. And that's why I'm like, yo, when you're talking about engineering, like the thing is engineering was still key for you, because it put you in front of that person that spoke to you, that even gave you the light bulb. You know what I mean? So it's like, even when you're on the wrong path, it's still a part of the journey that's still necessary overall, which I think is kind of cool.
I have no regrets. Yeah. Like I'm happy I went down that path. I'm happy that I tried it out, because if I hadn't, then, you know, I would have had those regrets. So,
What about it made you guys stay in it?
Stay in it?
Yeah, because like you're test testing a bunch of different things, right? And like you're like, okay, maybe I might stay in this thing. Like I even was a mortgage broker for like 5 minutes.
oh, no way. No way.
Yeah, we started at the same time.
Yeah, were you a realtor too? You got the Royal LePage?
Remember my clients.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I need a marathon pretty nice.
I got you. No, yeah.
No, but the like I did accounting at UIT.
No way.
Hey, weird. I didn't even know
How did
that.
I not know that? Yeah, that's crazy.
And then we went down the CPA route.
Okay.
Picked up a camera, and
Okay.
fucking race that went.
Yeah.
It was because of I hated accounting, but my boss at the time, remember Jawan Focus? I was my manager. You didn't know me at that time, but I hated my freaking job as an accountant. I tried to buy property in Windsor. I got accepted, 100 grand, and the mortgage agent said, "Yo, you can't get a mortgage because your job letter." And I'm like,
Shit.
"That's fine. We're on my like 6th contract extension. I'll just get it changed next week." She's like, "Oh, Jawan, I can't guarantee." And I'm like, "All right, fuck it. I can't guarantee I'm working here. I'm out." And I just quit.
What happened with the property?
Fuck it, bro. I'm like, hey, like back out.
Yeah. Oh.
Traditional finance.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Okay, about to
I
say,
thought
like,
you
did you
were
lose your
firm.
deposit? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, shit.
This is
Like,
100 grand, you know?
Like, there's no like deposit. I just like 2016, 2017.
oh, okay, yeah, it's different times.
Different times.
Yeah.
Like, that was all the property, bro.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just got through a lot, like kind of like a lawsuit for a pre-con. I got a bunch of money back. And I finally got the money back, and I'm like, okay, fuck, winter time. And then I was like started this magazine, and the magazine was revolving around an photographers, all these photographers would come out, all these models would come out, clothing brands would come out. But this guy was shooting hood music videos. I was crushing his sister. Came the camera, you know,
Yeah.
yo, give me a video the next day. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. How much for one of these? And he's like, it was $800 to start the conversation. I'm like, $800, bro. This is so much money, bro.
Yeah, bro. At that age, yeah, why not?
I'm like, dog, I'm only making $2,500, $3,000 a month. He's like, I can't afford this. I'm like, yo, what camera is that? And then I'm like, yo, when's your next one? He's like, tomorrow. When's your next one after that? Tuesday. When's your next one after that? Friday. What camera is that?
Yeah, facts. Because like,
Same one, and after there is that one. And then so I got into this whole camera shit.
Yeah. So you were self-taught, like no one taught you, you just taught yourself.
YouTube, bro. Yeah,
Okay, I got it.
same here.
yeah, where else are we learning stuff? Dude?
Yeah.
You know, like, is everything that you learned
In the book?
what you learned in school?
No.
What's your guys' take on education?
That's a good question. My take on education is one that I definitely grown into. Because I mean, going through school, you're like, bro, this is a drag or whatnot. But I really look at it like investing in yourself now. And it's funny because like I've gone to school, I've graduated, I've taken courses that I didn't finish, and it's all different forms of investing in yourself. And people don't scoff at it when you're like, oh, I went to school, didn't really work out. I'm not even in that field anymore. How many people do you talk to where they're like, I went to school, I got my diploma, and like I'm in a totally different field now. And we don't even blink an eye at it. But like, for example, I've been a part of mastermind groups that I had to pay to be a part of. I've taken several courses and different certifications that I ended up not using. And while maybe I don't actively participate in that field anymore, like it's still stuff that I've learned. I get to carry with me into whatever I do next. And like, it's the cost of becoming your final form. So it's just like, it is what it is. And I look back on it now, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like you got to pay the cost to be the boss.
Yeah.
And those are just sunken costs and you deal with it. How about you?
In terms of education?
Yeah.
Continuing education specifically.
Like going to university, college?
No, the stuff.
In general. Yeah.
Because right now, bro, you can't tell me that everything that you're using to run your business is the stuff that you learned in school.
No,
True.
I think you never stop learning. I think that you have to invest back in yourself. Same thing with Royston, like any courses that I can. So we have something called CPD, Continuing Professional Development. I don't know why I had to think about that. we just know it for the short form CPD. So basically it goes over different areas of law. So for me, for example, I would do a real estate CPD because laws are constantly changing, especially in this market, right? So you have to continuously educate yourself. And I learned that after my mentor, we had a real estate lawyer who we used to work with. His name was Mark Alter, and he passed away now. Rest in peace, Mark Alter. And I called him, and he had been in the industry for over, I think, like 40 years. And I asked him a question. He's like, I've never dealt with this situation before. I'm like, how, you've been in the industry for 40 years. You've never seen this before? It was like an old mortgage from like the 1960s. I talked about this in one of my clips that was still on title.
Yeah.
And no one could find the lender. And my clients were selling the property, and we had to remove it because obviously the buyers are not going to inherit this lien.
Of course.
So I called him, and I'm like, can you help with this? And he's like, I've never dealt with this before. I'm like, fuck, like, what do I do? So he kind of guided me through the process. It took us like a year to get the mortgage removed. But at that point, I'm like, I got to continuously keep up with changing laws, these issues that happen, because you just have to be prepared,
Facts.
right?
Yeah.
So I think continuing education is important. I think you have to continuously learn, especially in this world, because it's changing so quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
You brought up something really cool that I want to, I mean, I didn't even have it on my list, but like mentorship. How you feel about mentorship? How has it played a role in where you are today? Because honestly, like, I think it's clearly important, but I don't think people really understand the gravity of it, gravity of it in real time until they're actually in that chair.
Yeah. So mentorship for me, I learned actually later on how important it was. My mentor was actually a realtor, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. He's a realtor. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants me to say his name.
Yeah.
But
You're usually low key about it.
Yeah. So he basically, because as you know, I left law for about a year and then went into real estate, then came back to law. So he was the one that kind of guided me in the right direction in terms of how to set up a law firm, how to do it, and how to build my business, because he had built businesses in the past. So if he hadn't sat with me for about 8 hours at his house, I was at his house for about 8 hours on his couch, and he was just kind of giving me the roadmap on what to do. And I just mentally took notes of everything he was saying. And after that, I would just call him, message him, see him, email him, go for lunch, go for dinners. And he called me today, actually. We're still in touch. And I find that without his mentorship and his guidance, I wouldn't be here today. And I've talked about this many times, and I sound like a broken record. But had I not had that mentor in my life, obviously we have our parents and family and our friends too, but this is someone who's guided me from the inception of marathon law up until now. And I think it's super important to have a mentor.
Yeah.
Because you make less mistakes, right?
That's the real cheat code about it is like, you get to, it's a cheat code because you get to not only learn from your own mistakes, but you get to learn before you make a mistake because you've been advised accordingly based off of someone who did it before. And I think that that's the key part where, like, again, like you mentioned, like there's parents, there's siblings, you might have some friends that are in really good places themselves respectively. But unless you need to have the tutelage and the guidance from somebody who is literally in the position that you're aiming to be, because only they can actually give you the real life advice that'll help on your particular journey. It's going to be a little bit different for other people, which is why like they might have vague or general practices that they could extend to you, but like it's not directly applicable. And having that, you know, that extra voice on your shoulder to give you pinpoint tips, tricks, advice to help you on whatever your journey is, like it helps out tenfold. And like the one pushback that I hear back from people whenever I make mention of mentorship to them is like, oh, like, well, like the cost. And I'm like, you don't understand that cost pales in comparison to what it'll probably afford you by taking that mentorship. Yeah. The mistakes that you end up making by avoiding mentorship usually end up costing you more than the cost would have been to have the mentor if they're even charging you, right? So, I mean, yeah, like you got to really just separate yourself from costs sometimes and focus on the value.
And there's a lot of people that are willing to help for free. You'd be surprised, right? There's a lot of people that were in the same position that you were when you were starting off. So when I was starting off, I'm like, you know, I was struggling to find someone to help me. It took me some time, it took me years. And now when people reach out to me and they need help, I'm like, you know what? Like if I have some time to spare, I'll help them, I'll guide them, because I was once that person that needed that help, right? And you don't necessarily have to pay for it. You can. But there's a lot of people that are willing to help out there. Like you'd be surprised, and you know that as well, right?
Of course. I mean, same. I operate very similarly. Like people reach out to me all the time, whether it be about mortgages specifically, whether it be about real estate investing, whether it be about content creation or whatever the case may be, parenting. And I'm like, I'm never going to hesitate to give that advice. And I'm like, there's no cost attached to it because, again, like you said, like I remember that version of me that needed that help, and I would have given anything at that time to get said help. So I want to make sure that I'm, you know, being the person that I wish old Royston had in their corner. How did you come across your mentor? Like how did you get there? Like how did you guys meet? How did you guys connect?
So the mentor that I had, excuse me, who was a realtor, he basically was one of like the top realtors in Mississauga. And when I started my first firm, I reached out to him and I really wanted his business. And he blatantly told me, I've had the same lawyer for like the last 15, 20 years. He's a good friend of mine, and that's who I send business to. He's like, no disrespect, but I'm just loyal to the guy. And I respected that. I'm like, you know what, forget it. And we just kept in touch. When I moved to New Brunswick, which is a story for another day, we can even talk about, I moved to New Brunswick. I was living in New Brunswick for almost a year.
This guy's lived many lives.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man. I've tried everything. So I moved to New Brunswick for some real estate ventures. That's when I left my law firm. I sold my share. He called me and he's like, what the fuck are you doing in New Brunswick?
Yeah,
right?
Facts.
Yeah, he's like, what?
Valid question.
Why are you in New Brunswick? I'm like, I'm doing some real estate plays out here. He said, I want to learn more about these real estate plays. So we kept in touch. And then when I came back to Toronto, he said, let's meet up. So we met up. I went to his brokerage. And he's like, you should get back into law. And I'm like, why? He's like, you went to school for it. I heard you were good at it. And even though we never worked together, you had a pretty good reputation in the industry. So I went to, he's like, he invited me to his house. I went to his house. He kind of guided me. And then the first step he said is, don't increase your overhead. Don't take on like a huge space. Just get an office in my brokerage. I'll give you an office. He was charging me maybe, I think it's $600. It was nothing because it was a brokerage of realtors. So he's like, get an office and I'll refer every realtor to you. Anybody that I know, I'll push them towards you for real estate transactions. So I'm like, okay, I took a gamble. I rented an office. And then first month, I think I got 5 deals and I'm like, this is great. And then it just began to compound. We became so busy. We opened up a full office. We hired staff. We hired lawyers. So because of him, basically my business exploded.
Yeah.
And that's why now, like anytime he needs something, he calls me for something, I'm there, right? I always pick up.
Funny though, because he didn't end up actually sending you a deal.
So he
didn't
did.
need to. He said something better.
Correct. Initially he didn't, but we're actually working together on his real estate deals as well because his lawyer has now kind of taken a back seat. But yeah, it's crazy how that happened. So.
That timing, like, you know what I mean? Because like I want to allude to like patience for a second.
Yeah.
Because some people, especially in the real estate world, I've talked to a lot of mortgage agents and a lot of not so many lawyers, but they're like, I'm not wasting my time. Call it realtors. They are not
Yeah.
because they make one call and they're like, no, I don't want to talk to you right now. It's like, dog, how long was that life cycle?
I gotta think about that.
That's a good question because I mean, I can speak to that to a degree because like there are definitely times where I'm like, and that's also why I kind of took a little bit of a step back from cold calling because I was just like, I'm gonna reach out to realtors that I want to reach out to, they definitely have a team already, and the realtors that I probably don't have a team already, I don't really want to reach out to. You know what I mean? And that's no slight, but like it was too much of a catch-22. So I was like, okay, like let me just do what I do to showcase myself. Whoever wants to gravitate. And I can sprinkle in the other outreaches in the meantime, wherever it fits. But you're right. Like it's funny because the same people that either had teams when I reached out to them or I didn't even reach out, let's just say, because I assumed that they had a team. They end up kind of coming around just by natural selection, right? Like if sometimes the stars just align in a way where it's like, okay, you just remain relevant enough, you stay in the game long enough, the win will come eventually kind of thing. And I think that that's really what I've learned is just like, okay, you focus on doing what works for you, keep your head down, keep grinding, keep working, stay relevant, stay top of mind, because something will happen along the way for a multitude of different people. And you want to be who is next in line for that opportunity to knock on your door. So it's just kind of like staying in the game long enough to see yourself win.
It's true.
Yeah. Which I think is that's exactly what you did.
Yeah. No.
How long was that life cycle if you could think back to it? Because it must have been before you even went to New Brunswick, right?
So 2018 was when I started our first law firm, and I think he was one of the first people that I reached out to because I grew up in Mississauga, so I used to see his billboards everywhere, bus stops.
Is this Sam McDaddy? Let
No,
me find out if
it's not Sam
McDaddy.
McDaddy. It's not. If you say his name, I'll confirm it. But it's not Sam McDaddy. But
He's the biggest in Simon, right?
Bro.
I mean, one of the biggest, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not Sam McDaddy, and but
Facts. I'm like, no, it's got to be Sam.
2018, late 2018, early 2019 is when I reached out to him, and then I would say that in 2022 is when we properly connected to actually work together and collaborate. So that was 3 years. And I would say a lot of the people that I'm working with right now, like bigger teams, good referrals, it took years to actually work with them. Kind of similar to you, like you just kept your head down and kept working, and then we'd see each other maybe at a conference, or they just send me a DM on Instagram, or they'd have a tough situation they were dealing with, where you might not be doing the closing for the client, but they can't get a hold of their lawyer, so they call you, and they remember you helping them, right? So then they're like, okay, my next closing I'll send to you, and you're like, okay, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
and some of them end up doing that, right? Because they remember the favor you did for them.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
never say no, right? Like
Yeah.
never say no to an opportunity, because most of the time people remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me years to build the business. It didn't happen overnight. I wish it did.
You know,
That'd be nice.
It's funny though because
Yeah.
I mean I only know this because like I sit in a chair of like entrepreneurship myself, but like people will look at you and be like, yo, it happened overnight. I'm convinced it happened overnight for you. And here we are talking about what sounds like a decade plus from engineering up until now, right?
Yeah.
And like it really is just a testament more so to you just keeping your head down, grinding,
Yeah.
taking a loss or deviating and pivoting day after day after day for 10 plus years. And here you are now where people can say, oh, like it happened overnight. We're like, nah, like this was actually a long time in the making. It took a lot of resilience, a lot of persistence. And like, I think that that's the one thing that I kind of wanted to have you kind of expand on as well is like, what's your relationship with not losing, but not winning right away? Like what goes into your mindset to make sure that you continue to show up every day, despite the fact that you weren't where you wanted to be just yet? Like you're sitting pretty nice now, But like when you're on that journey, what do you tell yourself to keep yourself going? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, my dad instilled something in me where he's like, you can either let failure paralyze you, or you can let it motivate you, right? And you're going to take losses in life. That's normal. If you listen to any entrepreneur, they all talk about their losses. They learn the most from their losses. So what my dad kind of taught me kind of has stuck with me since I was a kid, because he went through a lot of losses, and he's just like, why am I just going to like, you know, shrivel up and just, you know, get scared and not fucking move forward? You have to move forward. Somebody said, fall forward, don't fall backwards, right? So at the end of the day, anytime I take a loss, I let that motivate me, right? I learn from it, and then I move on, because I'm not going to dwell on it. It's a waste of time and energy. Either I can use that time and energy to dwell on something and sulk about it, or I can use it to push me forward and motivate myself and do better. So that's all it is.
Yeah.
Just staying disciplined, right? I wish I was as disciplined as going to the gym. Like, that's something I'm working on. I'm disciplined in my work, but like physical activity, I know you are. Like, you're on the treadmill, like sweating it out.
I can't start my day any other way. But no, I agree. And like you said, like it's all about discipline. And I love that you kind of touched on like it starting from when you were young with your parents speaking that to you and just making sure that you had a positive relationship with losing. For me, like it's similar. Like my mom was very persistent in making sure that I wasn't someone that gives up. And she's a bit of a perfectionist and wanted to instill that in me. And like, it was tiresome during those days. But I remember even like something as small as like, for example, my penmanship. Like my mom would make me do my homework and like, obviously I'm doing my homework. Cool. And if the writing wasn't neat, she'd be like, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
Like, you're not shortcutting anything. Like you're doing it again. And I mean, as a kid, you're like, why? Like it's not that serious. But now as an adult, like I look back at things of that nature now and I'm like, you know what? Like that's why I don't mind doing things over and over and over again. And really what success is built on is like the repetition that it takes for you to get to the mountaintop. So like maybe things don't go perfectly on your first attempt or your second attempt or your third attempt or your 100th attempt, but you have no problem doing it a 101st time until it's like, okay, I've conquered whatever it is I'm trying to conquer. And like, it's kind of psychotic if you really think about it, because not everyone's built for that. And that's the difference maker between people who become successful and people who don't.
And I'm sure when you were a kid, you were like, why am I doing this? And now you look back and you appreciate those things your mom made you do, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to go outside and just play with my friends.
Yeah.
Work on your penmanship. My mom used to do the same thing, but it was like math. Like, do this math problem. Yeah, Kumon. Kumon was like, my mom put me in Kumon, man. She was
Same.
like,
All the special programs my mom could find, she's putting me in. And and it was like, you need to do this to earn going outside or to earn whatever it is you want. Like if you want whatever this is, like, and that's something I do to this day is like, I put whatever the treat or the reward is on like a carrot on a stick for myself. And I'm like, okay, I won't reward myself with X until I finish this. So for me, it's like, okay, like even like you're talking about going to the gym and stuff. Like when it comes to like me trying to have like my cheat day, or I'm trying to have like, for example, like my mother-in-law makes a bomb cheesecake and she'll make the cheesecake for me and my wife, and like it'll sit in the fridge and I'm like, you know what, like if I want that cheesecake, I got to go to the gym 4 days this week and I can have it on Friday. And like I've gone to the point where like if I don't do the 4 days, I actually won't eat the cheesecake. Okay. Like it's reinforced in me.
Yeah, I'm eating that cheesecake on the first day. On the first day, I'm eating that cheesecake. Yeah, good for you, man.
Yo, just put the 4 days on credit. Like I'll do it later.
Your mom reminds me a lot of my mom. I'm not just saying that. Like my mom was the exact same way. She's like, if you want this toy, you gotta get this in this class. I'm like, okay. Yep. I had to earn everything. Like even when I got money for my birthday, she used to have a sheet in her room, and $5, $20. And she used to add in, and then I would save up, and she said, okay, now you can go buy this. So I know she was pocketing that money, right?
I still got some birthday money to this day.
Yeah. So, no, it's good. Like, I think parents should teach their kids values, right? I think that's important.
Agreed.
So.
Now, are these all, I figured I'd just jump in.
Yeah, of course.
Time.
Join the podcast, man.
You're a substitute.
Grab a mic.
Yeah, and freaking Sasha, I got the realtor shirt on. You know what I'm saying? So,
facts.
Yeah. But no, because we were talking, we started talking about you making the content. And you're like, yo, just stand your ground and post it. I'm like, I've been meaning to do the talk for. Remember we were talking about cold outreach versus post and stuff like that.
Wait, who?
Remember we were talking about cold outreach versus
Oh yeah.
organic?
Okay, you're talking about like is it better?
I don't want to talk about that though. I want to talk about parenting because you guys just brought up your parents.
Yeah, I had some parenting questions as well. I was
Yeah.
waiting for Robinson to get here, but yeah, we can start it now.
I know.
It's all
man.
good.
This guy is running late. It
It's
sucks.
okay.
Yeah, he messaged me. He'll be here any second.
Okay,
but
cool.
like now that you're a parent, do you find yourself doing some of the same things that your mom did to you?
I find myself doing a lot of things that a lot of things I'm not doing that my mom did with me. I don't know if I can talk about that.
Honestly, quick disclaimer,
Yeah,
if you get up from here later on today and you're like, you know what, fuck, I probably
let
Javon will cut it out.
It's all good.
I've had to tell him a couple times like, yo, cut that part out. I thought about it. I think I was wild.
Yeah, my mind was like, no, my mom, she was a very strict parent, like most brown parents are, and she used different parenting tactics, but looking back at that time, it was acceptable, and it's not like she like beat the shit out of me, but if something happened,
She beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, like there was consequences, right? Like my dad never laid a hand on me. My mom was tough, right?
It's funny that you started to cut you off.
Yeah.
Same thing. My mom did all the ass whooping. My dad just kind of sat back and
just look at
stern voice. I hope you learned.
Yeah, but I was scared of my dad, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
same.
what if he does? It's probably gonna be worse than this, right?
The what if is killing.
Yeah. So no, like it's I appreciate what my mom taught me in terms of like staying disciplined and being rewarded. Like you had to earn being rewarded. So we do the same thing with our kids, where like they have to earn everything. Education is important for us. I use those same parenting techniques that I learned from my mom, but there's certain things obviously I wouldn't do with my kids, right?
Yeah.
It's just not in me at the end of the day. Like what about you, Royston?
Honestly, much of the same. And I mean, it's funny because like, I mean, I joke about it on TikTok all the time. Like, okay, like the way I parent now, like I'm realizing in real time, like, okay, like I understand what my mom was doing, or I understand why my dad was tripping about this now because I'm actually in their shoes now. But I think for me, it's again, trying to instill those values and still be stern in terms of consequences, repercussions for your actions. But taking the parenting style that I saw and I see the value of even today as an adult, and just remixing it a little bit, maybe I don't got to do certain things to the exact T that they did. Like I can have a little bit more discernment and just make the discretionary changes based off of what was okay. What I was like, okay, you were kind of, it was a little bit much. I'm gonna maybe, shave this off of what you were doing. But no, honestly, and I think that's the cool part about parenting is like you can still get similar results or still have the same end goal. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know how my kid's gonna end up in 20 years from now, but it's still creating a healthy and maintaining a healthy relationship now. Whereas like, bro, there were some nights that I remember being a kid. I'm like, yo, this happened. I hate my mom. Like, or I hate my dad. Like, and I don't want to have to make that extreme take place. And I think I can still get the point across without having to, take to that same extreme. Yeah.
What have your kids done that have like made you the most proud?
Proud? Oh, they're gonna say piss me off. I was about to say, I'm like, yo, Carter, I got time today.
Oh
but,
yeah. Oh, you want to go there? You want to go there?
I love Carter. He's an angel.
Yeah. You sure? You don't want me to cut that? Don't make me go to the last shoot.
Yeah, he got his belt down.
Carter,
It's all
come
good.
smile, and freaking got hype, man. Got hype.
Proud? Honestly, yeah. You actually, because you got two. So, what are the? I guess for each one, like what's something that stands out that makes you really proud for what you're seeing so far as well?
I would say like how affectionate they are. Like I got two girls, they're very affectionate, and that makes me happy because I think that it's very, very important for people to show affection. Like I meet some kids and they're just so cold, Some kids can be mean, man, right? And
it's like fucking dickhead.
What
the hell did your parents do?
So like I admire, like I'm proud of them. They're good kids and they're very loving. And I just see the way that they interact with my parents, with my in-laws, with my wife, obviously. So I'm very proud of like how loving they are. That's important to me, right?
100%.
Like you come home and just like, it's just the best feeling in the world. They're too young to show me how smart they are, right? Like, but the older one, she's very intelligent, right? Like I'm very proud of her. She's joining the spelling bee club.
Yo,
she's a good speller. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's like the most recent thing that I'm proud of. But thus far, the younger one's too young for me to kind of figure that out. But you tell me, like with Carter.
I mean, even when you talk about like affection, like I love to hear that because like those are core things that like whether you can spell really good or you're really good at math, like you want them to be good humans at the end of the day. For me, I think the first thing that comes to mind when I talk about Carter and like what I'm most proud seeing so far in his first 4 years of life is I love seeing his personality in the sense that like he's very outspoken, very charismatic, and it's an energeticness that I see out of him, and it really makes me smile because I feel like he's like the perfect blend of me and my wife, and it reminds me to be the best version of myself because he is watching. Like there are so many times where I'm watching Carter and I'm like, yo, that's me. Or I see him do something like, yo, that's Dom. And like, I'm like, shit, like if I do the wrong things, he'll pick up on those things and he'll emulate it. So it's been really rewarding and really, it makes me proud to see him just find his own path from a personality standpoint because he's not a carbon copy of either one of us. It's just a blend. He's taken what he kind of aligns with and he's made himself unique already as is. And I in a world full of like so many people that are just like, you can tell people are unsure of themselves. People are still searching for themselves and they just end up copying or imitating others. Correct, yeah. And I hate seeing that stuff. I don't know about you. I see it on social media all the time and it's like, you're not being yourself. Seeing him be himself and unapologetically so at this age, I'm just like, it makes me really happy. Yeah. And another thing, just like an honorable mention, I love his vocabulary. Like he uses some words sometimes. I'm like, what? Like, and Dom's the reader. I have the gift of gab, so I can talk as well. And I think him being around that, like he'll hear us use words, he'll get the context, and he'll like use it like 2-3 days later. I'm like, what WTF? Like what's going on right now? I don't want to swear, but he used the word like the other day.
He won't hear you, bro. You're good.
He was, bro. You never know. He'll drop he said the B word the other day. I was like, oh, like that was probably for me, but yeah, he said bitch, and he had like a little twang to him. Like, oh shit, I was like, that was kind of cold. But like he used the word like he was like he said like that's inconsiderate, and I'm like. Good, for sure. But don't say that to me. But like he just uses some words sometimes, and I'm like, damn, like and he's using it in the proper context, proper like usage, proper tone, and I'm like, you know this word, like it's not like it was just a fluke, and like I'm just like you're like I want to continue to feed that, so it makes me really proud.
Nice.
Yeah. What is your kids are in public school or what's the deal?
My kids are in private school.
Same.
Private, okay. You're in private.
Yeah, Montessori.
Montessori.
Well,
Montessori or like
that
slightly different.
So the younger one's in Montessori, the older one's in private school in Mississauga.
Okay.
I didn't really have a choice, to be quite honest. The wife's like, we have to put them in private school.
For real?
And when I saw how much it costs, I'm like, this is a mistake.
What's the sticker price?
Yeah, low key. Because I mean, I get a subsidy right now.
I mean, I think it ranges. Don't quote me on this, but lower end probably around like 15,000, higher end about 25,000.
Okay.
Per child.
Yeah, for the year.
And you're about to do it for the second one as well.
Yeah, the second one's going to be joining the older one in October, I believe, this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, just not the paycheck, the invoice.
My pocket's not looking forward to it. I'm a little worried. Hopefully business is good.
What was the decision behind that? Like, why did you want to? Like, I know personally, like everything bad that I learned in my life, I learned in public school, right? But
yeah. So I mean, I went to public school, but my wife was under the impression that, you know, the public schools that are around us are not good public schools. Mind you, they're not bad, but I think for her it's kind of like people that are put in private school might have an advantage in terms of curriculum, in terms of just opportunities. Not to say that you can't do that with public school. Like we all went to public school and we're fine, right? But but like we're all entrepreneurs, right? So I think that her mindset was that I want to put my kids in a position where they're never going to have to worry about getting into a good university or having good teachers or having good experiences. Because, I mean, I never had a pool in my high school. Like, they have a swimming pool in our high school, right? They're teaching them French at a very early age. I mean, I started learning French probably like in
like 4 or 5.
Yeah. But she's learning it like in grade 1, grade 2. So stuff like that. But for me, I was like, hey, send her to public school. You know, that's how we grew up. But it was more so my wife's decision, which I support, right?
Yeah.
Because she clearly knows what she's doing a lot better, like more than me, right? So
shout out to the wives.
Yeah, like without,
For me, I had I had the opportunity to go to private school and public school. So I actually went to the same private school that my son goes to now. Not the exact same location, but the same brand.
Nice.
And when my dad was the one that was really adamant on me going to that private school when I was a kid. It was, I think, pretty instrumental in how I grew up and even how I show up as an adult today too. I skipped grade 1 as soon as I went to public school as well. So like I was already a little bit advanced as a result, I think, of private school. So my dad was really adamant on me doing the same for Carter. And when I went to just do I was like, okay, you know what? To appease my dad, like I'm gonna go check it out. I couldn't really tell the hype as an adult until I went and saw for myself. And like just seeing how the structure of the private school after doing the walkthrough at the public school, there was a very clear difference in terms of like how the kids operated. They had a really good setup where it was like, okay, you're not junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, or whatever kindergarten. It's like you're either the mentee or the mentor.
Okay.
And you have a 3-year age range in the class. Everyone's mixed together so that they can practice leadership, also practice being led and bouncing off of one another. And it was more so like just from like a value perspective, and also being like, I think you made mention of like being able to think outside the box, which I think is why like, you know, you see some people intrinsically are just like, okay, like I am like a solo thinker. I'm not necessarily subscribed to groupthink or just being in this box, which I think public school kind of pushes you in or gets you in the mode of. So private school, it made a lot of sense, especially seeing how my son already operated previous to school. I was like, okay, you know what? Like I kind of want to foster some of these traits that I'm seeing in him. And private school just made a lot of sense, especially when like, again, like I got that subsidy. So I was like, okay, this is a no brainer because it made it a lot cheaper.
How'd that subsidy work? Like, how did that?
So he was in a daycare program, and the daycare program had like a collaboration with the private school where it still
Private
ends up being.
daycares are doing collabs.
Bro, I was like, I'm like, whatever you guys got going on, just keep it going because I love it until at least he's done this program at least. But it was like, I think it's like $25 a day, which ends up being significantly cheaper than what private school should be and what you're paying. But it stops after he turns 6. Then I got to make a decision like, okay, am I going to pay the big boy price? But I mean, and again, I only went until I was 6. And I think that a lot of what I learned carried forth. So hopefully the same happens and I don't have to open the pocket. But if it does, like we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well,
I got 2 more
right
years.
now, what's your gut telling you? You want to keep him in private school? Because I remember after a couple of weeks, we met up, and you're like, well, this kid came home having a temper tantrum.
So and you know what? And that's
how did sending your kids to school change them?
Socialization, bro. And like you're not gonna be able to protect them from that, right? Like they're always gonna be exposed to other personalities, other behaviors, and he could have picked that same shit up at public school. So I'm like, is that public school specific, or is that just school specific? So I don't think that he would not pick that up if he went somewhere else. So I got to kind of be mindful of what I'm attributing to private school versus just like a natural occurrence overall. Yeah.
What about you, Nikhil?
In terms of
like, how did your kids change as they went to school? Because like, I mean, you said 7 and 4, right? So
7 and 3, yeah.
7 and 3. So one of them's pre-COVID, one of them's post-COVID. You know, like how did they change? Because like being home with them, you probably really got close and started to see your kid like often, and then next thing you know, they go off to school and they come back saying all this weird stuff.
I feel like Misha, my older one, she has a lot more structure in her life. And the socialization aspect has definitely changed. Before, she would just kind of want to sit at home, watch TV, play at home. Now she enjoys like being with her friends. She always comes home and I'm like, how was your day? Oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so was doing this. And she'll like tell me about her day, and I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to like an adult, right? Like we have conversations. So I find that she's a lot more social. I find that she has a lot more structure in her life. She's definitely beginning to articulate words that I can't even articulate to this day. And she says things, and I'm like, she'll start speaking French, and I'm like, bro, you're speaking to the wrong person. I don't know French. Right? Like I took applied French in high school. Yeah, so and probably middle school. Like I was horrible at French. So I'm very proud of all these new things she's learning that I never had a chance to learn. With Mava, my younger one, she was very shy before she went to Montessori. She was very like attached to my wife. Now I'm seeing her to like she's developing a personality. She has a lot of humor. She says things. She's more comfortable being around other people other than me and my wife. So I find that school's kind of opened her up a lot more. My younger one,
more detached. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I'm like nervous about this. I'm
Bro.
like, it's like
You got time though, like
a couple weeks till the baby's here. I know. A couple
you got
years
3-4 years
until
after
school
that till
time.
that's an actual topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's questions I want to ask, but I kind of want to ask Robinson more, right?
Yeah. I mean, bro, we can still ask them as well.
He'll be here in about 5 minutes.
Cool.
So I was talking to him.
What I wanted to ask you now, I mean, since we're on the topic of literally like kids, wife, how do you balance?
Nah, save that, because Robinson got
Bro, I'll run it back. It's okay.
He's got 19 kids, bro.
How many kids?
He has
3, 19, same, you know what I'm saying? It's the same amount.
It's the same still.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be dope. I actually want to save it, though, because I feel like his reaction is going to be interesting.
Cool.
Because, like, 1, 2, 3.
Cool.
You know, like 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotcha.
It's
You want to just take a break then until he gets here? Because I feel like that's where the combo is going next.
That's where it's going,
yeah.
And then you guys could kind of, like, recap him quick. And,
Yeah,
like,
because I mean, there's
give
a couple
him
questions I want to ask him that we answered as well.
Yeah,
and I think I had like maybe one more question after that, and I'm chilling. Like we can just kind of cruise until it's 5:30. Yeah.
Definitely good talk though.
Yeah.
I think I know we're saying like don't put out the full episode, but we'll probably just sync it and then put in like a widescreen YouTube with just like the 3 cameras side by side for the whole time.
Yeah,
I think it'll look pretty.
I'm not mad at that because I mean, I don't know if there's this realtor that just reached out to me at the end of last year. And he's been sending me some decent amount of business, and I'm like, yo, where do you get your leads from? And he's like, YouTube. I'm like, YouTube?
Yeah. Who is
he
it?
does Matt's Moy.
Oh, see. And the thing about it is like, these guys. So I remember I was filming this like real estate event, and it's Kenneth Toppin. Shout out my guy Kenneth.
Heard of him?
That's my dog.
No, I haven't done a single business. He's doing his thing. I think his wife does the mortgages, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
But he's like, you could just be eating in your one little postal code and nobody pay you no mind. And I was like, and like it just kind of stuck with me, like the way that he said it. Like he was talking about like data. They were talking about deals. It was one of the real estate events or so. I was filming the keynotes and stuff. And he's like, yeah, like realtors aren't even looking at data. Like I call it realtor, and this must have been like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago, beginning of 2024, 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
And it was like the follow up right after one of the contests. So I went into this room of all realtors, and they're like, "Yo, I was just in your contest. You remember the contest?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was filming on stage, and he's like, and they were talking about where does he get deals? And I know this is like off topic from the family conversation, but we're just kind of waiting for Robinson.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yo, like the thing about real estate is that." And it's funny because you guys aren't even realtors, so it's not even relevant. It's like, none of the realtors look at data. And like, if you look at data, you could see which postal codes have the highest volume of transactions. And it's like that year after year after year after year. It's the same amount. It might fluctuate slightly, but every street, even every single postal code has its own amount of deal volume.
So that's how he targets his.
That's how he targets.
Okay.
And he's like,
pretty smart.
Yeah.
very smart. And he's like, yo, I'll talk to a realtor, and the realtor would be like, yeah, I saw all the GTA. And it's like, bro, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's like, that's part of the reason why 70% of realtors don't do any fucking deals. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, we do everything from rentals to leases to commercial and residential. It's like, yo, you are not a one-stop shop, bro.
Yeah.
We do everything.
Yeah.
We do mortgages too.
Bro, I don't know how there are realtors that do both. I'm like, there's no way.
Bro,
it's
literally.
not,
and those ones that keep trying to eat up a piece of everybody else's transaction is so annoying with like referral fees. I'm sure that pisses you guys off.
Bro, I don't deal with them. I can't. Like, if I hear somebody tell me like, okay, well, give me a cut. I'm like, cut. I'm like,
It's
yeah.
a cut,
Anyways,
bro. It's like, you know how
tells me
hard-
that you're not. Nobody who's doing business needs
You need to cut
an extra hand in your pocket.
Yeah.
No,
It doesn't
bro.
make
Stop
sense.
pocket watching, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, it gives you another headache on what to babysit. But he goes, yo, a realtor that says, oh, I service the GTA, versus one that says, I service Durham versus the East End. It's like very different. Versus one that says Pickering Ajax, versus one that says just Ajax, versus one that says South Ajax, versus one that says Southeast Ajax, versus one that says just this neighborhood in Ajax. Like there's enough deals, like one postal code.
Yeah, it's
might
like
have-
McDaddy. McDaddy services like Mississauga Road, Lorne Park, like all those high-end neighborhoods in Mississauga.
Yeah.
Right? That's like his niche.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
dominates it, and it's just like that's all he needs.
Yeah.
And look, 3 guys, he doesn't know who the fuck we are.
Facts.
And we're out here talking about it on a fucking podcast. You know what I mean? It's like, then that's the value of like niching down to like one fucking thing. I don't know how we got here, but
No, it's a
we
good
did.
point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Like just niching down in general, like that's a pretty. I think it gets overlooked a lot, and that's why, like, again, like I have to remind myself of that too, because like
Yes.
as much as I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do mortgages all across Canada, bro. Like the reality is, like, should I even make that my shtick? Like, you know what I mean? Like I
It's not gonna give you an advantage, bro.
It's not, because I got one deal in Northwest Territories. Okay, cool.
Northwest
Bro, I had and it was a fucking hassle. Yeah, I did. terrible deal.
Those random
But it's just
places.
like, what am I doing? Like, it's just like, but I mean, it's just
one in Yukon.
Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
like, bro. But it's just like, yeah, man, you just gotta, niching down is very valuable. And I think I don't want to get there just yet. I think that's what I want to do maybe when I've built enough of a book. Yeah.
Or what would your niche be? Like, I feel like you're already like a first time home buyer. Like, I feel like
That's definitely, I would say that's the bread and butter, I think, right now, for sure, 100%. But I mean, like, would there ever be a time where I'm like, I don't do anything else? And I would refer out anything else.
Like you wouldn't do like other provinces like Alberta. For
Yeah,
example.
or I'll refis. I'm like, yo, I send it to another person to do refis for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I would do that necessarily. But like, to get to a point like that, it's kind of like the goal almost in a sense, because I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing right now forever. So,
give me a second, sir.
he's here? Okay, cool.
You guys want intermission? Take a second.
Yeah, intermission.
Sure,
I'm gonna get some
yeah,
more water.
Cameras, grab some water.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some water.
I hate the house that I like. I almost never wanted to move there to begin with.
Let's talk about it, yo. Housing.
talk about it.
Housing. The house you should buy versus the house.
Yo, shit, we could talk about that for real, cause are these rolling?
You own your, yeah, we're rolling.
Yeah.
You own your crib right now?
Yeah, so I own my current crib right now. So we moved into this crib in 2022 because we were renting before. So our ownership journey is a little bit different because we bought a crib in Brantford when it was pre-construction in 2018 before we got married, when we were engaged. And then we didn't know what we wanted to do, but we got married, and then we were closing like 6 weeks after we got married, after we came back from our honeymoon, and we're like, we're not ready to actually like close on this house yet. I don't think, like financially and everything. We were like, oh, I don't think we're ready to close. So we're like, you know what? Let's try and sell this house because we had free assignment. So like a week and a half before closing, we were like, let's try and sell it. And we got like 2 showings, but then the realtor was like, honestly, I don't know if you're gonna want to, like, this is gonna work. So we got to work on closing now. So I reached out to, at the time, it was just a referral from somebody, and reached out to him, and we ended up closing by the hair.
Skin of your teeth.
Yeah, and it was, bruh, and it was because my credit wasn't the greatest. Income and all that was fine, but my credit wasn't the greatest. We had to get my mom to co-sign, which only worked because my mom had just previously sold her home and was out of her home that she sold for over a year or whatever it was.
Lucky.
So lucky is even an understatement. We were almost cooked.
Facts.
So whatever, we ended up closing. We were like, we don't want to move to Brantford. My biggest concern was my wife. She's a nurse, and that drive from work after a 12-hour shift is deadly. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just continue to rent in Brampton, and we'll figure it out. So we rented in Brampton for years. We got tenants in the house in Brantford. We almost, and I told you this before, we almost got like nightmare tenants. So we get to, like, we're doing, like, we're trying to get occupants. So we're using our realtor to do this. So he's like, okay, somebody has, wants to come see the house. So they come to see it, they leave. He's like, okay, so no, safe space, not judgmental, but you probably want to meet them first. He's like, the offer all sounds great. He's like, they'll pay 6 months rent up front. They'll pay more than what you're asking for, but they just can't do a credit check because they don't have. I'm like, okay. He's like, but you want to meet them. He kept emphasizing without saying anything more. He's like, you want to meet them. So we're like, okay, you know what? Let's meet them at the house. Let's go through everything and let's have a conversation about whatever. Because the 6 month rent was a little bit, it was cool, but it was also kind of like, why?
Yeah.
So we meet them, and they walk into the house, and it's 4 adults, 1 child, and they inform us of 2 large dogs that would also be occupying the home. Okay. Already, like, sirens are going off in my
It's
head.
a little weird, yeah.
No way.
So now we're having a conversation with these people, and they're from Hamilton originally. So
a red flag.
next red flag. Start asking them, what do they do for a living? First, one person, like one lady, is kind of like navigating the whole combo. She's point guarding the whole combo. So she's talking for everybody. She's like, oh, me and my husband work in self-employed scrap metal. I say, okay. Scrap metal can't make money. You're in the steel city of Hamilton.
True.
Cool, reasonable. So I'm like, all right. And what do you guys do? So she starts speaking for them, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, I'm a RPN, and my boyfriend is unemployed currently. I'm like, okay, cool. So I look at him, and I'm like, so the lady who's manning the whole combo, like she has a few missing teeth, a few, few.
Yeah.
The guy who hasn't said a word yet on the end that's unemployed, none. I made a joke,
Okay.
got him to open his mouth, saw no teeth, and honestly, the look on my wife's face was like absolute like horror. She was like, okay, whatever. So we're just kind of like, this doesn't seem
Makes
right.
no sense.
Like, and I'm looking at them like, if you guys get in our house, you are going to cook the most meth, and you are going to squat in our home. There's no way that this is reasonable. There's no way this is gonna happen. So we're like, but and they entice the offer even more by adding more on like the rent price. So now we're like in a zone where we wouldn't have to pay anything on our mortgage. Like they're covering everything. We're like, so we're like, we'll sleep on it. So we're like, this is a Friday. We're like, we'll get back to you by Monday. Literally Monday going into like Monday morning, right? We're about to wake up. Not about. It's like 3 a.m. My wife literally rolls over, and she sleeps through the night. Rolls over, taps me on the shoulder. She's like, honestly, call Mike in the morning. Nah. She's like, tell them nah. I feel horrible about this. So we didn't do it. We called my realtor, Mike, told him, yo, tell them no. Literally 2 hours later, we got a showing for another person to come see the crib. That family, literally complete 180, literally like the best tenants on paper. The guy worked for a company, like a water meter heater company that was installing them in the area. His company paid the bills. His company paid the rent. So it was coming from the company.
Guaranteed rent.
Direct from the source. Yeah.
Bam. Everything was great. His wife worked too. Didn't even matter what she did at that point.
Facts.
The kids, there's 2 kids, like 10, 12, like great. Everything was good. We didn't even meet them. We were that confident because again, he met them and he didn't specify.
You didn't have to. Yeah.
You're good.
Right? So we didn't even meet them until 6 weeks into them living in our home. Then we went to go do an inspection, and we walked into our house, and it literally looked like a staged home. It literally looked better than we could have lived in it.
Yeah. Nah.
And we're just walking through it like, oh, you guys are the when I
stay
say
longer,
bro. And because it was a new build, you know, there's little nooks and crannies and shit in the house that the builder's gonna fix, bro. In between builder visits, the guy's just
he's doing
Bob
it.
the Builder in it out, and I'm like, oh, you're sick.
Yeah, that's like my tenant I have now in Brantford. And I mean, it's funny. So I mean, you said a couple things that I kind of want us all to chime in on because we're talking about like living situations. We talked a little bit before you got here about that. So you bought your first place in Brantford, ended up not living in it.
Not a day.
Ironically enough, I bought my place in Brantford, I think maybe a couple streets over from him. Closed around the same time period, which is ironic enough as it is. Didn't live in it right away. You moved out, moved back in. So we all had stints where the first property or our first move wasn't even about relocation, essentially. We all have different walks of life where people think that the first house you have to buy has to be your forever home. Yeah. And like we all took a first step that was slightly different and set us up for where we are now. Yep. And I want to normalize that. Like that's something like I think that people really over obsess of whatever that first step is out the house or out the nest being the forever spot or where I got to stay for 10, 15, 20 years. And like you're just trying to lay the foundation down. And it sets you up for whatever comes afterward.
Bingo.
Tenfold.
In our situation, it was so funny because this was 2019, end of 2019. So we got attendance in January of 2020 now. So this is when the market is still kind of like, it's still not normal because what was going on at that time wasn't normal, but it was like decent. Yeah. So we sat on it. We continued to rent our home in Brampton where we lived. Everything was Gucci, and we're like every 6 months we kind of reevaluated. Are we going to move to Brantford? Are we going to, what are we going to do? So it wasn't until one Saturday afternoon in February of 2021. Okay, so at this point we're like 14 months into owning this home. Okay, and I'll give you numbers because I think the numbers are important for people to see how real it is. So we bought the home at $470,000 in Brantford. It was a townhome, 3-bedroom, decent, like pretty decent home. So 470 in 2018, call it, closed in 2019. It was occupied for 14 months. We sat there one day and we're just like, yo, the market is crazy in Brantford. Let's see what we can get. Called our realtor, put it on the market. Bro, we sold that home for $700,000.
Yeah.
Brother.
And no capital gains, right? Primary. Well, no.
We'll leave that one alone. But it was the craziest like I ever seen in my life. Because I'm looking at it like Like when we said we wanted 700, and when like everything was coming down to, I'm like, this is a
Reality?
realistic, actual number.
When did you
So-
sell?
Huh?
When did you sell?
And we closed in June. June. The
21?
paperwork dried in March, but we had a 60-day, I think it was closing. So June of 2021.
Okay.
This was before the hype, but we were on our way to the hype.
That don't even matter.
Bro, right before the hype. And honestly, me and my wife literally we laughed. We were like, this is
That
like
was 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Less
and
than.
Yeah.
3
Less-
years.
less-
Bro, it was 14 months.
Well, 3
Well-
years from the time you bought the
Well,
signed the
no,
contract.
well,
Well,
yes,
you bought it in
technically,
2018, you closed in 2019.
Yes. So yeah, it was almost 3 years. It was just under 3 years.
Yeah.
But bro, from the beginning to end, that's an insane like
Return.
I could have never done. Nothing is gonna do that for me,
100%.
right? Obviously, there's risk involved, but that was an insane way. So what we were able to do was we were able to pay off our debt, put money aside. So when the opportunity arose and the market kind of went back to somewhat normal, we would buy a home in Brampton, sorry, which we ended up doing. And then we got into our home, which was our first lived-in family home, which we live in now, which is cool, but it's small as hell. So I'm ready to be out.
But that move that you made 5 years ago now, or 6 years ago now, this is what has put you in the position now to make this move now to where you're going to be calling your
100%.
forever home.
And the thing is, like, what I have anticipated back then we would get here at this point or this soon
This
or whatever
pace?
the case
Yeah.
is, maybe not. But the fact of the matter was, I wasn't going to pigeonhole myself into saying, if I can't get that house now, I'm not doing anything. Or I'm just
Exactly.
going to keep renting.
Facts.
That wasn't feasible. We had to take steps to, and buying a crib out in Brantford, that was we went out on a limb. But we did our research, and at the time, Brantford was voted the number 2 city in North America to invest in at the time. So I was like, okay, let's trust the
Why
numbers.
not? Yeah.
And
No regrets.
At all.
How about you?
First property I ever bought was in Kitchener. It was back in 2018, and we picked up that house for $270,000. It was a townhome, and it was my.
Sorry, you said 2018?
2018, yeah.
Bro,
And-
do you hear the number he just said?
yeah, 200. It was a condo townhome.
It don't matter.
Wasn't a freehold, and we didn't live in it. It was an investment, and we were probably making maybe like $400 a month after like maintenance fees, insurance, mortgage. And then one of my buddies is like, oh, you got to look at the East Coast. It's booming. I'm like where in the East Coast? He's like New Brunswick, and we had this conversation before too. This is kind of what started in New Brunswick. I'm like, okay, sure. So we went out to New Brunswick, and I'm like, well, I'm not sitting on like $70,000, $80,000. Stuff's cheap out here, but I still need to put like 20% down, right? Because investment property was my primary home. So we ended up finding a property in New Brunswick for about $390,000. So I refinanced that house in Waterloo, pulled out equity, and then I think I refinanced for about maybe like close to 400. I took that. I bought a house on 3 acres of land in New Brunswick for about 390, and we still have that house today, and we Airbnb it, and it does very well. And also we've got appreciation on the land because it sits literally like on the ocean. So we still have that house. We Airbnb it. And then in 2020, I want to say 2022, like at the peak of the market, we sold that house in Waterloo for $550,000.
Double
Which, by the way, it was not the nicest house in the world. And the people that bought it was sight unseen. Like they didn't look at the house. Yeah, they bought it. They bought
Sorry,
it.
what year?
This is 2022, like probably at the peak of the market around maybe like
Yeah.
May or June.
Oh yeah, that's when.
And then, and then right after that, I was like,
they were literally doing whatever at
Bro,
that time. So that's
sight
crazy.
unseen? Like, that's crazy.
and this is so. Remember, I told you cash for keys. The tenant that we had living in the house at that time, a week before closing, she's like, "I'm not leaving," and I'm like, "Shit." So we ended up paying her $15,000 to leave. Mind you, we're still walking away with about $200K. So I'm like, it's a write-off.
Yeah,
Like, fuck it,
exactly.
It's a write-off.
Yeah.
Right?
Cost of doing
Close,
business.
move on,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Nah,
What do you think it's worth now?
The house, fuck, probably like maybe like 350.
Keep that down there.
Yeah.
That was because the numbers
Yeah.
weren't even real. It
It
was
was-
almost like it's almost like Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Like
facts.
Like
Because it was in a shithole neighborhood too, right? Like it was not in a nice neighborhood at all.
You gotta
It was
think
it was on like Bricker.
it was a horrible. Like I saw it for the first time when I went to go like list it, and I'm like, this is like I bought this. I'm like, this is horrible, right? It's Mind you, it changed our lives, right? Like it basically was a stepping stone, just like Brantford was for both of you.
Do you still have the Kitchener property?
No, we sold it. We sold it at the peak of the market for $550. Yeah, we
No,
sold
that's
it.
when he sold. So
Oh,
he
that was
did
private. So
sell
it was the New Brunswick one.
So we still have that one.
Okay.
We Airbnb it. That was
Okay.
the first Airbnb, and that led to many other investments right after. Yeah.
For
So-
me,
In New
the,
Brunswick or in New Brunswick or?
So funny thing is, the appreciation we got in New Brunswick, we did buy properties in New Brunswick, but we also took that equity out and bought properties out in Ontario. So, yeah.
Even my mother-in-law and her mom, they bought out in New Brunswick, or is it
Nova Scotia.
no, it was New Brunswick.
Moncton?
Brunswick?
Was it in Moncton?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Because they bought. I think it was 2 years ago. Because like it was an opportunity, and like the market was right, and
Yeah.
the land out there is crazy. And again, if you get something on the water, and
Yeah.
I haven't been out east yet.
Me
Myself,
neither,
Beautiful.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
I
yeah.
want to
heard,
as well.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
And I've heard like real estate is. Well, I mean,
It's a lot-
anywhere in Ontario
depends.
is dumb except for Ontario and BC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I almost bought something in St. John's.
oh, did you?
I remember you telling me. remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, for like 400K.
Yeah.
Something like
Eight
that.
units, no?
8 units, yeah.
50 a door.
St. John's is rough though.
The
That's
one
a
that I bought in fucking Windsor as a dick on the fucking side.
yeah. The nice thing about provinces like Alberta or New Brunswick is the landlord rules are a lot better than Ontario, right? So like Ontario, you're obviously gonna get that appreciation, but it kind of sucks to be a landlord sometimes.
That's
Bro,
why
a lot of the
that's
times.
why we're selling this house immediately. Like, I'll be honest, we're gonna take a loss on our Brampton home, but I don't even care.
Yeah.
I'll be on. To be frank, I do not care because one, it's gonna be by the time we sell it, because we're not selling it before we close on the new crib, so it's gonna be considered an investment property, and it's okay if I take a loss on it because I need it for my taxes anyway.
Yeah,
Because any
facts.
capital gains, I'm getting fucked anyway. So whatever, take the loss now. Let me just walk away with my friggin' deposit that I pretty much. We'll break even likely.
Yeah.
And whatever, I'll walk
Just
away
short-
with my
short-
original
small
deposit,
shortfall.
whatever. Because the thing is, I could be a landlord until the market recovers, but who the fuck wants to be a landlord in Brampton?
Yeah,
Right
facts.
now, like, yo, brother, I
Facts.
call it spade a spade. Unless it's a family member I know who is willing to pay or cover
All the
almost
costs,
the
yeah.
mortgage,
Yeah.
then absolutely not.
It's true.
With the way things are going now,
Too much risk, not enough reward. Yeah.
Yeah, Brampton's rough.
Yo,
Yeah, yeah.
nah. My first play in Brantford, so Brantford, similar to you, like it was just a matter of like getting into the market and like again, not even making the move to move out there, but I bought for 380, and at
Townhome.
the townhome,
That's
and not far from him, 380 townhome, and I'm like,
I think
okay,
the only difference was ours had like full yard or whatever.
yeah, I didn't have a backyard. You had a backyard. I didn't have a
Yeah, that's
backyard.
what- yeah,
So I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't care because I was moving in. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Again, the drive is a little bit far. Everything that I know is here in Brampton still. I'm just investing, getting into the market because like you said, where else am I going to get the opportunity to do so? And at the time I was single, working my one job. I didn't have many options. I made do with what I could. And like you said, fast forward to 2021, I'm no longer working. I'm like, yo, I explored the option of selling, and I'm like, yo, what if I could keep it, which I want to do, I want to have the portfolio. What does it look like if I refinance? And at that time, I think the value of the property was like 620 or something.
From
380. Because I refinanced. I didn't sell. You sold for 7.
Yes.
My value was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
620. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
I'm like, how much can I get in a new mortgage? They're like 80%. I'm like, 80? I'm like, the new mortgage is more than the house is worth. I'm like, okay. And I can keep the property? I'm like, you're sure? Because again, I wasn't a mortgage agent yet. I didn't know how this worked. And I'm like, okay, let me do that. I want to keep it. Give me the new mortgage. I get the cash, and I'll figure it out from there. Because at least this way I can either move in, which at that time, like, I'm like, I got to get out my house. And I'm like, okay, but I still want to keep investing. I want to invest for cash flow this time. I get enough money now to pay off my debts like you did, get that financial reset, and then go and buy a triplex in Sudbury.
Which is a great market. Yeah.
Bro, to cash flow, I'm like, I got a triplex for $269.
That's crazy.
Yo, how did that first refi? How did that feel?
I felt like I felt untouchable, bro.
Like a Pandora's
I
box.
felt, I'm like, I'm Elon Musk. You can't tell me anything
Tax-free.
different. Tax free, and I'm like, there's
So I have
no.
a
I
question
felt like a
about
catch.
the
There was a catch to
triplex
it.
now.
Yeah.
How do you find now Sudbury? I assume the market is great because it's a student city.
Yeah, there's two. There's a college and a university out there. I
Okay.
think it's Laurentian and something else,
Now,
and a
I
hospital.
can assume that you don't have squatters because obviously, like
Property management vets the hell out of them.
Who? Your
property manager.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
That answers the question.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how do you find, because the one thing you have to worry about with families is squatting. Students aren't squatting because they got to go eventually.
facts.
Right? But they'll mess up your crib and whoever's
Party
gonna,
and all that stuff.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you So you have like grad students type like.
So I mean, and honestly, like I don't even dig too much into it. I literally let it be the property manager's responsibility, and I trust them with that because we also have an agreement. Like if you put people in there that are not going to pay, this is coming out of what is your cut. Non-paying tenants results in you not getting paid as a property manager. So you have all the incentive to vet accordingly and make sure that we get quality people in there. And I've also made it explicitly clear. I'm like, I don't care if it takes you 3 months to find a tenant as long as you find the right one.
Got it.
So I'm not pressing because I think that's how you really do get into that situation where like you have the bad tenant where, you know, you're like, I just got to get the first person that's willing to pay X amount. That person's more likely than not, probably not the right choice. So I haven't had any bad issues in Sudbury yet.
That's good.
God willing, it continues. And again, that's just a product of having a really good property manager who understands what you value.
So from a cost perspective, property management now, what is it, and do you have to come out of pocket, or do you make enough with?
I made sure to factor that into my number running. So the property manager cost me about 9% of the rental income. Across the entire rent roll, that's probably what, like $400? Yeah, and it works because it's 3 units in there. So the more rent that I'm getting now, it's enough to cover the cost as long as it's fully tenanted. I think as long as I have 2 tenants in my thing, it's going to cover the cost of the property manager. And I haven't been in a situation yet where I've had more than 2 units vacant at a time. So it does cover the cost. Granted, there's if I have, let's say, 2 units occupied and then something goes awry after paying all the things, I might have a month where I don't make any money, but that's cool because it's a break-even month.
Yeah.
Before I recalibrate and I start cash flowing again in a month or two. So it's worth it, especially for it to remain completely passive.
100%. And it gives you peace of mind too,
Yeah.
right? So
I don't want to have to deal with calls. And I've done the property management when I had the property in Brantford because again, I was just a 27-year-old, like, okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna do it myself. It's only an hour away. Bro, I don't want to be bothered, especially now that I have kids and a wife. I'm like, single Royston didn't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it now, for sure.
I don't know if you want to tell us.
I can't. I already told them.
Okay,
I already told them.
Okay, but yeah, horror stories when it comes to tenants. That some of that is
you got to protect your asset.
Yeah, 100%. That's why and that's the reason why, like in this current time in my life, I don't have the capacity to be a landlord because I can't deal with.
You got bigger things to worry about.
I'll run up in my crib, which is your occupying crib, to make sure you get. I'll run up in my own crib to get you out of your crib, like and maybe you want to cut that out, but I'm not having it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's so what I do plan to do, probably at some point next year, whatever, again, we're going to kind of reset after we buy this crib, reset the debt, all that kind of stuff, is I'm probably going to go out to either out east or out west, to be honest.
As you should.
So do either of you guys have experience out west?
in Alberta?
Yeah.
No. But I'm looking at
None.
Alberta right now. I see good opportunities there.
Me too. Me too.
Okay. I'm thinking about it because like I know a couple people who are like, honestly, Alberta, you have no tenant issues. Yo, you have that crib, like that 25-year mortgage amortization, it'll get paid off, and in 25 years you give it to your kids. Kind of.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking too. And so to make things abundantly clear, all of us are in some form or fashion real estate investors or have been.
Yep.
And we all have made it completely passive, something that we're not involved in. And it's also set us up for where we're headed to in the future.
Bingo.
Without needing to obsess with making the first property the end all be all. Yeah. So we are three people that can attest, like, don't over obsess over that.
100%.
Yeah. Yo, just my thing is this, and not everybody agrees with this advice, but like, yo, bro, if you are, unless you're at odds with your living situation, stay home as long as you can.
Yeah.
Especially in this economy,
Bro,
especially in
facts.
this economy. What are you running away from? If your living situation is,
Copacetic. Yeah.
bless, like me, I left my mother's house when I was 27. I didn't get married until I was 29. I left my mother's house because she sold her home. I was forced to leave. Okay?
So I would have stayed longer.
Because at the time, like, I was already dating my, at the time, girlfriend who became my wife. So it's like, I don't need to be in super eligible bachelor with my own, and I had the whole basement to myself kind of thing. I had my privacy. My mother respected it. So it was like, I was already in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, like I was good. So I was like, yo, when she sold it, she was selling her crib. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So like,
reality
I was
set
ready
in.
for this, like, and I was already
Now
going
it's
through my.
real.
I was going through my own stuff at the time, but I was like, whatever, you got to make it shake, right?
Yeah.
So I was in a basement apartment for a couple of years, and then I proposed. Me and my wife, my fiance, were like, okay, like let's look into what we're gonna do. And at the time, she had more of the she had the better credit, way better credit at the time. I had a little bit more of some of the money up front, and work was progressing for me. But she was like in nursing school, so she was just graduated nursing school. So we were like, we took risks that we shouldn't have technically based on our situation. Like if you want to say like talk about self-awareness, like
There was none.
we were being very delusional about those decisions, but we almost had to be, because if we didn't, the fear would have handicapped us into not making those choices. Because the thing is, like, yo, we stressed like coming to closing and all that. Yeah, we had to borrow money from our parents. We had to make like my wife called one of her uncles and she's like, we need like 15,000 in like 72 hours, and got us the money. No questions asked. Went to the bank, pulled it out. Yeah. He didn't ask a question until he was giving it to her. He just asked, "Are you guys okay?" She said, "Yes, it's just for our crib, whatever." And we made it work. Like, is that ideal? No.
Yeah.
But whatever. We borrowed 15,000 that we didn't have to pay back interest free for a month, and it turned into however many 100,000 later. So it's like sometimes you do have to bet on yourself, 100%, leverage, and sometimes that's where it just like. I know this is a little bit different, but like being a good person helps. Because who the hell's giving $15,000 to a piece of shit?
That's reputational right there.
True.
Yeah, it's true.
So
you got to take risks at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Have to.
In that same breath, so this is a question we kind of held off for you. How are you balancing? Again, like you're talking about, we all wear multiple hats: fathers, husbands, business owners to a degree. How do you guys go about balancing that?
Man, some days
it's a juggling act.
Some days I'm not balancing. Some days I'm imbalanced. I'm off the edge. Like I'm almost off the cliff, to be honest. But honestly, like it really comes down to just why do you do it? Remembering your why. Setting yourself up for success as much as you possibly can, because again, you're gonna have rough days where your kids are pissing you off, like you lost the deal that you like was easy money you had projected, and like whatever, you were in just a smidgen more traffic than you wanted to be, and it just irritated things a little bit more, and it's just one of those days and you feel like, yo, like I'm losing it. I try my best to like look at like I do a really good job of finding the silver lining, and looking at whatever silver lining I can find will usually bring back the chi, and I'll be able to kind of figure it all out. But honestly, it's really about just remembering your why, and just remember your priorities. I feel like when I'm not juggling things, I have to get back to my calendar planning, because that really does help me. Like I have to get back to calendar planning my work day, but also like me and my wife, we have a calendar on the fridge, and like I have to actually make sure I'm putting in my events, making sure I'm asking about her events, because it helps us to be balanced and nobody's getting caught off guard. So now I'm like, okay, I know what to expect every day of the week, and there's no surprises. I'll be honest, I do not like surprises. It's just me, my personality. So in order, like planning gives me the best possibility to be balanced.
True.
And making sure that I like, do things for myself.
Yeah.
It cannot be all work. I don't believe in all work, no play. I never have.
There's no point.
Yeah.
I'm not working this hard to not enjoy
die?
the fruits of the labor.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I don't feel bad about it. We're gonna live. Like my big thing is there's gonna be living involved in this. So like, and sometimes I will have a rough day. I'm gonna go do some living, and maybe I can't even afford to do that living today, but we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live. I'm gonna remind myself.
You're gonna worry about it after.
I'm gonna remind myself that what, like there's more to just the grind than just the grind.
Exactly.
Right? So it's for me.
How about you?
Great answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can compete with that. To be quite honest, man, like I'm still trying to figure it out when it comes to balance. I got 2 kids, and I do all the drop-offs. My wife does all the pickups. Whenever I'm with my kids or with my wife, I make sure I'm present. But in terms of balance, like work consumes a lot of my life. But just the profession that I'm in, being a lawyer, you got to make yourself available 7 days a week for your clients. Just because it's a weekend doesn't mean that someone's deal is not going to close. A lot of times we'll get instructions on the weekend for a deal, right? You're in mortgages. So finding that balance in terms of balancing work and family life is something that I'm still struggling with. But one thing that I've learned, and one thing that I'm very disciplined at, is if I'm with my loved ones, whether it's my wife, my kids, my parents, I'll put the phone away and just be present, right? So in the moments that I do have with my family, I just got to be present, right? So that's kind of where I've found a little bit of balance, but I'm still trying to figure out whether I should be, learning how to turn it off.
Yeah.
That's something I'm struggling with right now, you know?
So,
Yeah.
to your point, honestly,
Yeah.
that's a great thing to do, just to kind of unplug and being present. I think is a great, especially when your profession brings you out of being present.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
are there, you want to be. Turning it off.
Yeah.
Good
It's
luck.
hard.
It's hard, man.
I'm gonna keep it honest with you. It never turns off. You pause.
Yeah.
Because off, like in what we do, off means you're not getting to the chicken. We gotta get to the chicken at all times. You know what I mean? So learn to pause it is a better way to look at it, because trying to turn it off will be so difficult that you maybe can't do it. But
Yeah.
pausing it is very similar to unplugging and
Yeah.
whatever. Sometimes you gotta pause a little bit more. Sometimes you gotta bake it into the calendar too. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like I'm actually not gonna do family time. I'm actually not gonna do work. I'm gonna, for half an hour, just
Unwind.
watch highlights
Yeah.
of something or
100%.
whatever,
Yeah.
you know. That's a good way to kind of.
And there's moments where like I am spending time with my kids or my family, and I'm like, I want to work right now. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm spending too much time with you guys. Like, I've seen you guys way
Gotta
too
put
much.
y'all on the back burner real quick.
Yeah. Like I need to make some money, right? But what about you, Royce?
No, good. Honestly, like, I just even want to take what you said and normalize it. Like, you're saying, like, you're struggling with it. Like, I think it's an ongoing thing. It's kind of like a hamster wheel, and no 2 days are the same. And you just, it's like Rob said, you got to kind of schedule it, like control the chaos. Because again, like I hear it all the time. I'm like, and you know what? Like, I apologize on a constant basis. Like, yo, I'm sorry. Like, I am not present right now. I got to make sure that I'm being intentional about that, because again, like, we're all on this constant grind as an entrepreneur. Like, you never really do get like the, okay, 5 o'clock, 5:01, I'm off. It doesn't happen that way. But that's also the reason why we're able to have the flexibility that we dreamed of, right? So in order to not lose what it is that I value, I still got to have a somewhat of a balance, or some semblance of it. And it is making sure that even family, business, all that stuff aside, like, I do set time for myself, which is why, like, okay, for example, every morning I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a little bit earlier than I need to so I can go to the gym. Or for example, like you said, like, if I'm like, okay, tonight's family night, unplugged everything, or I'm pausing it. Okay, Dom, go to bed. It's cool. I'll meet you there in an hour, because I got to catch up on something that I maybe put off earlier. And it's just like, it's a constant juggling act. And like, to the normal person on the outside, they're like, yo, this is crazy. And I'm like, you know what, it is, but it works for me. And that's what I got to do to kind of keep the ball
And
rolling.
it's a good problem to have too, right? Like, we're blessed
Facts.
to be in the positions that we have, right?
Yeah.
So like, to have work, to be overwhelmed, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Bro, there's people right now who would kill to be busy.
Bro, I'm telling you.
And so for us, it's kind of like, you really want to, again, and I think that as married men, also you married?
Yep, 2 kids.
As married men, I think also there's the, like, yo, your family, like, your partner should at this juncture, there should be the understanding of, this is what I do so that we can live the way we live.
Yep.
And good partners will always support that. Obviously, that doesn't mean some days won't be difficult for them.
Yeah.
Especially like with me, like, because I, like, outside of all of that, I coach football too, and like I'm the vice president of the organization I coach football
Nice.
for. So like, it's all well and good until like it's summertime and the 4 Saturdays straight have been spent on the road, and my wife's looking at me like, so yo, you don't have a family? Yeah. So you know what I mean? So like, there's that balance.
Where's
that right? Literally. And so. You got to make sure that, obviously they're going to understand, but when you are there, you got to, like, that's why sometimes, like, there's certain things I'll do for my wife or whatever, and because I know this
There's
Saturday
gonna be
coming or this whatever weekend, I'm going to be
Absent.
quite unavailable,
Yeah.
or I'm going to call my mom ahead of time and be like, hey mom, can you come help out with the kids? Because I know that's the biggest thing. Like, my wife
Support.
wants me to go out and do the things that I need to do,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's like, yo, I got to manage these kids on my own, like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's part of the balancing act, is making sure that your partner is also on the same page, but in a good space with your grind as well. And I think like all of our women would agree that they enjoy the life that they live as a result of the work that we do.
Yeah.
But again, we always have to make sure we do those check-ins and we have those conversations, and you know, like, to make sure that they feel secure as well is very important.
Agreed. Shout out to the wives. Yeah. Because I agree. Like, I think having the right partner enables us to even be in this position to begin with.
Bingo.
And continue it going forward. Like, it's not just about the lifestyle, but also being able to, like, provide the support that we need. Like, for example, sometimes I'm like, yo, I just need you. Like, for example, I did a webinar last night, and in the evening time, like, Carter wants to ramp. Like, he's ready to play. He's like, okay, dad's home, I'm home, I'm ready to play. I'm like, yo, I need an hour. to get this webinar going, and she understands that, she supports it. She's like, okay, you know what, let's figure out a way to keep such and such occupied so that he can go and do what he needs to do to thrive in his arena. And then after that's all done, we're getting right back to the original schedule of programming. So it's having that good balance and that understanding, like you said, between your partner, between you. The kids might not get it right now, cool, but like as long as you guys can tag team that journey together, it makes the entrepreneurship journey a lot more easier to continue.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You touched on something I waited for you specifically for. So as entrepreneurs, it takes a certain mindset, and I kind of just want to, we all have, because I know Nick over here is a Nick Stauskis. I saw a couple highlights on it the other day. How do you feel like sports in one way or another has helped you in entrepreneurship? Because I personally feel as though like being a former athlete to whatever degree, I feel like being in athletics growing up, sports is a staple if you're trying to be an entrepreneur. And I don't think that a non-athlete would understand it or thrive in this space. So how do you feel like there's been a contribution to it in one way or another in your journey?
Well, I grew up playing basketball. I find that basketball taught me discipline. It taught me how to like work with, like in a team environment. I was a really reserved, shy kid growing up, but as soon as I was put in basketball, I opened up a lot more. And the other thing is like just shit talking, right? Like shit talking during basketball. I feel like you become so numb to like people, like especially in my profession as lawyers. So like, and I developed that through sports, right? So if I hadn't done sports, I probably would react or say something stupid or just sink to their level. But sports has taught me like patience and discipline. Yeah. So that's big for me, right? Like if I hadn't done basketball, I wouldn't have been as disciplined as I am right now.
I can tell you're a hooper.
Bro, he has the court in his backyard. I was like,
that's hard.
Get some shots up.
Right?
Like Nowitzki, bro.
It's funny. So for me, it was football, and football is an ultimate team sport, right? Like no play can happen without two people at some point getting, touching the ball kind of thing. So for me, it taught me the ultimate team sports. It taught me how to work in a team environment. It taught me like I've been in like, if you can be an athlete at a high level, you can do sales, in my opinion. And I've been in sales since I was 17. Like every job I've had has been in sales, maybe with the exception of one. So for me, I look at sport, like even in my job right now, in my current career, I want to kill everybody. Like, and I'll be honest, like I make it very, so like in my, like I'm working in a branch, right? And there's a bunch of insurance advisors in my branch, and we have other branches in the region. So our region is like, let's say like all of Southern Ontario or whatever. And like, there's another downtown office. And I'll be honest, I just want to kill them every single month. I want to kill them every month. And like that office normally has like the top advisor or two of the top like 5 advisors in the province. But it's kind of just them, and then it's everybody else. It's like you have LeBron, Wade, and then a bunch of Mario Chalmers. Not even, like they're not even on that level kind of thing. Whereas for me, like I like to bring up my team because like I think we're a lot more balanced or whatever. But I even say it to them when we get on like conference calls or whatever, and we talk, oh, what are your goals? I'm like, to beat that store. And I make it very clear, and I'm like, it's the athlete in me. So I made it my goal there's this one guy who kept on being the #1 advisor in the country for years. So last year I beat him out as the #1 advisor in the country, and honestly, it felt like I felt like I want to chip. I wanted to have a one-man parade downtown, to be honest with you. But like that's the athlete in me, and when I'm having a bad month or whatever, the athlete in me is like, okay, we got to get back to the grind. It's like, okay, you got to get back in the gym, you got to do whatever. You got to get back to work, right? Like failure isn't an option, and you can lose a game, so to speak, but you got to.
There's another game coming right up.
Like we gotta go. I gotta go drop 50 now to bring up my average. Exactly. It sunk a little bit. So that's how I look at my career. And sports drives almost all of my competitive nature. And I think in sales, even if you're not competing with others, because it's not always about them or the other team. To be honest, it's like, okay, this is what I did last week or last month or last year. I need to beat myself, right? And the athlete in you will say, well, if you're years into your career or years into whatever, like you shouldn't have the same numbers in your sophomore year that you did in your freshman year.
You need to be constantly progressing.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it too.
No, I'm much of the same. Like I think the competitive drive and nature that you are surrounded by when you're in sports is what drives me today. And like I've seen myself, I've worked a number of jobs, and there are some jobs out there where it's like, okay, just show up. Do your best. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and I don't thrive in those environments. And then I have environments where it's like, okay, you're doing this. Okay, you're doing that. I want to beat you guys. Like, I want to win, and I hate losing. I'm not a sore loser. I just hate losing. And that's what, like, it keeps me up. I'm like, okay, I need to find a way to get better so I can be the best. And when I climb that mountain, cool, I'm just competing with myself. I need to outdo myself. And I find that that's why I'm way better suited for an entrepreneur type situation than like my 9 to 5 that I used to have. I'm like, I'm bored. Like, I need a reason to get up every day. Like, I need to be competing with, if it's not a literal competitor, like I need to be competing with the previous version of myself. And I think that resilience that you get from practicing continuously, whether you see the results or not, but being actively trying to better yourself, bro, without sports, I don't think I would have developed that muscle that I have now today.
And we're all in jobs where you eat what you kill. Like,
facts. Sink or swim.
If I don't touch road and I don't make calls and I don't do the socials and I don't do whatever, hey, guess what? We're having tuna sandwich for dinner. You know what I'm saying? But if I get on my ass, okay, we're filet mignon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're doing all that. So I think that, and this is not a knock on people who don't have that mentality. It is definitely a mentality thing.
100%.
To be able to say to yourself, like, we only win if I work.
Yeah.
Only winners get wings. We only win if I work, and only winners get wings. So if I want wings, I gotta put it on my own self. Because again, you can go to the situation where you're guaranteed, no matter what your performance is, you're gonna get your job. Which again, that's not a knock at all. That's that's more than the average occupation. However, what we've exchanged for that
potential,
like, bar where it's like, okay, we don't have to have that stress. What we've exchanged for that stress is the flexibility we have. Like, you guys you don't miss any of your kids' stuff because you can just not schedule a meeting during that recital. Or
I'm here right now.
You know what I'm saying? We have the flexibility, and that was kind of what drew me to the industry. When I got into it, I'm like, oh, I get to kind of do my own thing and make my own hours, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I can be, because as a young parent, for me, I was like, oh, I can be at my daughter's volleyball practice. I can be at this. I can be at this appointment. I can always be there because I can always manage my own schedule. And that really is what changed my life in thinking, and said, oh, I'm getting into something where I like, because at the same breath, it was like, oh, okay, yeah. I had days early on in my career where it was like, okay, no, chilling. I'm not really, And then the paycheck comes and you're like, oh, whoa. I didn't do shit last month. Oh, we gotta get to that. So you learn, right? So
you can't get comfortable.
Can't at all. Nah. You reap the benefits of what work you put in. Like, and if I work harder and I can actually reap from that, cool. And like, there are situations where like people are busting their ass and nothing changes on the output side. That is not the position I want to be in. I want to see, okay, I'm deciding to 10x. Because again, if we're talking about being competitors and constantly wanting to better ourselves and up our output, I want to see that in my paycheck and in my lifestyle and in the life that I'm living on a day-to-day basis. 100%. So there is no other place I could be, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So I think that's why, like, being an entrepreneur, like owning your own, running your own, whatever, having your own situation, it's not for the weak. At all. It is not. I'm gonna look at the camera when I say this. It is not for the weak. And I'm not even one of those people that runs around recommending everybody be an entrepreneur, because every single person that's part of this system is just as important as the entrepreneur. Right? Like, I'm nobody without my resources, my underwriters, and all these different pieces that allow me to do my job. Those people are working 9 to 5s, and without them, I am worthless. So it's very, very important to have those people and to have those relationships, and to everybody to understand that it's not their place to be an entrepreneur. But if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Self-assessment. Make sure you're fit for something like that. Like, knowing at the core, okay, like, are you someone who constantly can find self-motivation, right? Like, if you're someone who's not driven naturally, I don't know how you're going to wake up on those days where it's like, oh, like, I want to just roll over and press snooze, or you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have that drive yourself, because again, like, we don't have people on our back. I mean, unless you maybe have like the wife or the kid that's like constantly reminding you of it. But like, for the most part, like, it's on you to get your own engine started. And if you don't have that inherent ability or mindset, you're gonna have some cold and hungry nights, and it's gonna get repetitive, to be honest with you. Because that also can negatively feed yourself too. Like, just like how we thrive off of success, we're like, okay, I did this, what's the next level? If you're someone who doesn't have that mindset, if you're in the dumps and you can't find the motivation, you're staying right where you're at.
100%. Yeah.
Yo, and you got to be able to dig yourself out of dark places.
I was about to ask you guys, like, oh, have you ever had a dark place? But I know you motherfuckers have. So tell me about the last time you were in that dark place, or one of the roughest times when you were in that.
Oh, I know which one comes to mind immediately when you say that.
Yeah, and how'd you guys get out of it?
So when I first got started as a mortgage agent, and again, that was my first time ever being in a 100% commission role. Again, I had finally moved out of my mom's house, and I moved out to Brantford into the house that I had rented originally. And I had a 1-year-old. I had a not yet fiance that it felt like we were co-parenting because I'm in Brantford, she's still back in Mississauga, and I hated that setup. I hated not being able to see my son for 3 days. I hated not being with the girl that I'm trying to build a family with for 3 days. And I'm by myself out here. And I'm like, the only way that I can get out of this current setup where I'm like half on, half off with my family is if I can put myself in a financial situation where I can have us all here, where she can stop working the job that requires her to be where she's at. And I can now support us all out here. And that was my constant thought every time I woke up for the next, I think it was, I moved out there in April. By November, she moved in. And I'm like, for that 5-month grind, I was on beast mode because I was like, I need my family here because I hated being by myself. And I knew what I was like, that was my why at the time. And it produced the result.
It's a good why.
Yeah, bro. It was literally like eat or starve or be lonely.
Yeah.
I ain't being lonely. I'm not starving. So we got to get this. We got to make it work.
Nah, that's real. For me, it was also around the time when I started in insurance. So I had started at the company I work for now in April of 2017. Okay. So I started there in April of 2017, and unfortunately, I had a little health battle. So the health battle put me in the hospital in June of 2017. Now, it was one of those things I was able to recover, whatever, all was well, kind of went home after, but I missed some time off work. So remember, I said I started in April, okay? My job does actually give me benefits like disability and whatnot, because I get a very small base salary on top of my uncapped commission. So being fresh, and they give that to you kind of as a buffer in the beginning stages or whatever. So being fresh, I was less than 3 months in my role. I got sick for a month. I applied for short-term disability. They paid me short-term disability. I returned to work. Everything was all good. In the same month, this is when my mother is selling her home. So I came out of the hospital to 2 weeks in my mother's house before she sold it. So needless to say, I had to get things going. So I'm trying to recover medically, whatever, everything's all good, but it's hard. Then I get hit with on my first day back to work, I get hit with so by the way, what happened was, because you hadn't actually passed probation, that money we paid you, we need it back.
Oh shit, okay.
Because it should have never been paid to you in the first place. So not only did I not get the paycheck that I was thinking I was gonna get that day, open my account, no paycheck.
Man's clawed back.
Because I work for a financial institution, you have to have your account with them. They took it out and it wasn't there to take out.
Oh.
So it went into a negative.
Okay.
And again, I have a first and last to go pay on a house that I don't even know where I'm going to live in yet because nobody wanted to rent to a black man in Brampton. So yes, it was dark. That June, that July was very dark. I was able to find a place in July. I was able to get back on my feet, but now I was coming out of a hole. So it wasn't until the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, where I was really like back in real sanity. But it was like, I was like, yo, I'm digging myself out of like the most treacherous hole. The one good saving grace was when my mom sold her crib and everything like that, she was able to break me off a little bit of change, which kind of helped get me back afloat. And then at that point, I was like, okay, I've pretty much almost drowned. So I know how to sink or swim. Let's get to it now. And that changed everything. And then since there, shit turned on and we're good ever since.
You could have let it paralyze you, but you let it motivate you, right?
A lot of people would have thrown in the towel.
Yeah.
Nah,
but there was no towel to be thrown in still. I had to
make
Harlem Shake through it, man.
Nice.
How about you, man?
Honestly, I would say when I started my first law firm, my first law firm, we started back in December of 2018. and my daughter was born December 18, 2018. So at that point, I'm like, okay, all I want to do is be a part of my daughter's life. I want to see her grow up. You know, I want to be involved with like the little things like the bath time, the story time. So I didn't know what it was like running a business at that time, right? I didn't know that you had to be like all in for the first couple of years. So 7 days a week, nonstop for like 6 months. I'm like coming home late, going to work early. And my wife's like, you know, if you keep at this pace, your daughter's gonna have no idea who you are, right? And I was like, fuck, that actually, that hurts,
That
right?
hurts.
Yeah. I'm like,
That hurts.
I'm like, okay. So essentially I had to figure out like, how am I gonna find a way to build this business and at the same time, be a part of my daughter's life. So fast forward like a year and a half, almost 2 years later, I actually decided to leave that firm. So we built it up. It was me and another partner. We still keep in touch to this day. Royston knows him as well.
Yeah.
And we built the firm up, and I'm like, I need to find a way to be a part of my daughter's life and still be able to build a business. But I don't want to obviously do it in a way where it's going to affect you or where it's going to affect me. So I decided to essentially dissolve my share in the business and go off on my own. And I went full time into whatever my buyout was. I actually ended up investing all that into real estate, which is why I moved to New Brunswick, because we were already investing there. I'm like, fuck, mind my language. I'm like, forget this. We're gonna move to the East Coast.
Oh, so you moved out there for
I
a bit.
moved to New Brunswick.
How long were you out there for?
8 months. So me and my wife and my firstborn kid, we moved to New Brunswick, and all the money we made off the buyout and any equity we had from the refinance that we had left over, we ended up buying a small little duplexes in New Brunswick and then flipping properties on the side. So I became a wholesale flipper in New Brunswick. I got lucky. I knew nothing about wholesale flipping. Yeah.
That's also the market for it too, right? At that time, right?
You're picking up a duplex for 190,000, renovating it, selling it for like 250. So we did like maybe 3 or 4 of those, and then my wife's like, I absolutely hate it here, and I need to find a way. We need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So my second daughter was born in New Brunswick. Her passport says New Brunswick on it. So like a month after she was born, we came back, and I'm like, if I'm going to do law, I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to build it in a way where I can have somewhat of a life with my kids. Now I got 2. So that's when we started Marathon Law. Marathon Law, we started April of 2023. And now I make it a priority to make sure, like I said, like when I'm with my kids, I'm present. I did find a little bit of that balance, but that was a really dark moment for me because I spent all this time building this business, and you know, I missed a lot of time with my firstborn kid. I'm like, I'm not going to make that same mistake with my second kid.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
That's
redo.
real. And
Yeah,
that moment of
Yeah.
she won't know who you are if you keep up this pace.
Yeah, it hurts. I'm
Yo,
like, why are you
that's-
saying
yeah,
this?
yeah,
You know, like, that's fucking make me cry.
it's piercing, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that,
But it was a reality check for me, right?
Yeah. You needed it.
Yeah. She checked me, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta fix something. And I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, like business is important. It's important. Like obviously, like you got to make money to support your family, but at the same time, it's like you want to be there for your kid, right? Because you only get one shot, you know. So
It's true.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it hurts.
Dark place that you guys went to, but obviously it's not like that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're cozy, you just got a sauna and you're fucking back.
Yeah.
Bro,
Well, this won't be the. Honestly, it could be the forever crib, but I'm gonna be honest.
close
with
to
you.
it.
Boys kick up fighting about shit that
This guy's going on. He's trying to get property to what, number 4
Forward
this
this
year?
year. I'm trying.
See what
That's
I'm
the
saying?
goal. That's the goal.
So like, how do you like? Okay, so you see what when your back was against the wall, how you turned it on. Now when shit's coasting and like not cozy, like
Not take your foot off the gas pedal.
yeah, you stay on it.
You know what? For me, this is something I'm battling right now because, like I said, last year I had phenomenal year. Good enough to be on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a great year, and to be honest, like if I didn't do a lick of work all of 2026, I would still make a shit ton of money. But I don't want that. I gotta keep going because the thing is, it's like, okay, cool, you did it once, a couple times,
Yeah.
you made it look good, but how often can you do it?
Yeah.
How consistently can you do it? And that's what I'm chasing because it's like I said, it's like
I
I,
think it's-
won the ring. I won the ring.
I was about to say, like, this is kind of like the sports mentality where it's like, okay, you won a championship, but like,
Yeah.
can you do it again? Can you double? Can you go for a three-peat?
Yeah,
Can
like-
you like how? Can you
because,
make
like-
a dynasty?
So for me, it's like yeah, I won a chip, but it's like, okay, cool, you enjoy it, whatever. You got to go back to the drawing board. Am I going to retire? No. Like, I did well, but not that well. Yeah, I can't be out of here. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, literally, and like, I look at the guy who was number one for all those years. I'm like, yo, he has like 6 chips. I only have 1.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to get an MJ tops, I got to put my boots up. You know what I mean? So,
different type of competing now.
Yeah, like that's what drives me. The need, like, wanting to be consistent. And I'll be honest, like, as frivolous as it may be, I don't want anybody to be able to say I was lucky.
Yeah, you're not a one-hit wonder.
Nah, I want to be able to say, yo, I got that. And the thing is, it wasn't a meteoric rise because it didn't just happen overnight. It was steady. One year I happened to blow shit out the water, but like it was one of those things where, like, for me, I'm like, I want to show myself that I can do this again, and I want to prove it to others that I can do it again. But beyond that, like, I just want more. And also, it doesn't matter how much you fucking make when they take 50% of that shit. So it's true. Yo, you got to keep making more. I want what they were supposed to pay me before taxes. So I got to go double it up. Pretty much.
Nah, facts. I feel that. Did you come with some questions though?
I did.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry. My fault. Also, can you take a little pan with this as well?
Oh, I got no.
Okay, bet. Say less. I should know. You got this covered.
But yeah, how do you keep going? Because, like, for example, you had like your best year last year.
I did.
In the year that you also got married, will I say?
Fam.
In the year that was the worst in the history of your industry.
And you know what? And I appreciate you guys even reminding me of that, because I do forget sometimes what I'm actually doing and how it's actually showing up, because like I have my head down just grinding so much so that I'm like, I tune out all the noise, and it works to my benefit, and it can be to my detriment when it's time to like give myself the gratification. For me, I think like, again, like it's being in such a constant competitive mode where I'm just like, okay, yeah, that was my best. But like, I think about, for example, I had like a multitude of different deals that I lost last year. And I'm like, imagine I got to add those in though. I'm like, I could have did better. And it's my biggest strength, and it's also a weakness, because as much as I can identify rooms for improvement, I also don't take the time to say like, you know what, you did phenomenal. And now going into this year, I'm like, okay, yeah, I did that last year. It was fantastic. It was a record year for myself, and also extremely early in the average mortgage person's career. But I'm like, I can do better. I know I'm capable of doing better. And I'm also kind of obsessed with bettering myself. So I'm just like, again, to the consistency, to the wanting to prove that it wasn't like a fluke, because I know that there's people probably thinking like, yo, bro, this guy just had a couple popping videos. Like it probably won't happen again. I'm gonna prove you wrong. I can't wait to. And I think that's what keeps me going. I said it before and I'll say it again. Like, I'm crazy. I think I'm a little psychotic, to be honest with you. And it works more than it hurts.
Gotta be. I feel that. Yo, there's a lot. I mean, you're gonna cut this part out, but there's a lot of fuck yous to go around. Because yo, there's some people talking crazy. Oh, yo, yeah, we're really out here. But anyway, I'll leave that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I guess what keeps me going and what keeps me motivated, honestly, man, just like in my head, it's always like, look at how much my parents have done for me to get me to this point, right? I was lucky where my parents paid for my education, right? They gave me a platform where, you know, I could do anything I wanted, right? And we talked about this early on where, you know, my parents wanted me to become an engineer before, but I won't bore you with the details. So I decided to go into law instead. But my parents always supported my educational journey. And I'm like, if I don't do this for them, you know, like I all the work that they put in, all the sacrifices they made, those go to waste. So I got to make sure that I'm basically taking advantage of the opportunities that I was given, all the sweat that they put in to get me to this point. Because if I don't, I know I'm going to regret it. So that pushes me every day, right? Like just making my parents proud. And my parents are Indian at the end of the day, right? No matter what I do, they're going to be like, you can do better, right? I'm like, okay, so I got to do better, right? But that motivates me to continue pushing forward. And and I want my kids to also see me working hard, so that instills the same values in them, right? Because I don't want them to be slackers just because you know your dad works hard, is giving you a good life. I mean, you're not inheriting this shit. Like you got to work for it.
Exactly. You know? So, it's earned, not given.
Yeah.
It's funny you made mention of that, because I mean, I work primarily from home, like not even solely from home. And if I come outside to do stuff like with this guy, or I'm gonna go network and meet people, and my wife told me the other day that my son said, I want to be like daddy when I grow up. I want to stay home and do nothing. I said, yo, you're going to get a stay home day just to see what I go through. But I'm like, in the same breath, I'm like, you know what? This is the kind of things that you kind of work for your kid to be able to say. Because as much as I'm going hard, one of the reasons why I'm going hard is so that my kid can live a softer life and get to experience, you know, having the ability to chill out, lay back, and see his dad be, you know, present still. Because there are some people that are trying to do that and trying to create that for their families, and they have to be absent to create it. Bingo. So I'm like, you know what? Let me be grateful that that's what he has to say because I'm still here. Yeah. But the reality check is coming for you, Carter. So I don't know when you're gonna watch this, but 10 years or so, I'm gonna make sure you find out.
And it's crazy that you say that to both those points is like wanting to do it for your parents and wanting to make them proud and wanting them to feel like a sense of accomplishment in what the person they raised, but also looking at what they had to do. Like my mom, there were 24-hour periods where I didn't see my mother because she worked overnight. One job. Before she gets home, I'm gone to school. Before I get home, she's gone to her next job. So we had that scenario, and it was like I knew very well that she was doing all this to provide for us and everything like that. But her doing everything to provide for us looked very different from what my kids. None of them can say that I wasn't present for everything. I was there for everything, right? Like I might have missed whatever because something insignificant, but I'm there for everything.
And that's a real luxury at the end of the day.
Yeah. Right. And it's like yes. They may have the misconception that you're home all day, but it's like I'd rather you see me home all day and think I'm doing nothing than me actually not being home. And I'm doing something, but at what cost? Yeah. Right? Because when you're old enough, you'll again sit there with me. And the thing is, it's funny because like my family, like they'll like come because where my office is right now, like you got to come through the front door to go upstairs because it's a 3-level town. So like they'll come in mid convo sometimes, and like I usually do a good job of telling my wife when I have meetings. So like when she comes in silently. Yeah. But like my 2-year-old doesn't care. Daddy, like, you know what I mean? So like things like that will happen. But like that's the luxury, and they'll hear my conversations and like they just kind of like they do the thing. But the drill. It's a beautiful luxury to be able to have.
It's true,
right?
It's true. I like that you pointed that out. I mean, even just you saying like, what our parents had to do to provide, to create such a lifestyle that we had when growing up, and what we're doing to create the lifestyle for our kids. And it's flip-flopped, right? Like it's spun on its head. And me and Nikhil were talking about like, just like how we've taken and seen the value in what our parents were able to create and instill in us, and how we're parenting now is kind of like taking that, remixing it a little bit, just trying to like, modify it 2.0, because at the end of the day, there was a lot of valuable traits that we got to take away from our parents. They did great things to put us in our position to be where we are today and make us the people that we are today. But like, we're remixing it a little bit.
And there's a little bit of poison that they gave us as well. That we had to, in fact, and the thing is, it's funny because I give my mom a lot of grace because I feel like I was the last of 4 children. I was the only boy, so I had 3 older sisters. And I gave my mom a little bit more trouble than my sisters did, definitely. Like, was I like the worst kid? Absolutely not. But like enough trouble that like I stressed her out, right? So like I got my fair share of beatings and discipline or whatever. And in hindsight, as a parent now, I'll be honest, I deserved a lot of it. Like there's some times where she could have went harder, if I'm being honest. And then there's other times where she did go too hard. So like, my mom didn't really know balance, but like I understood, and I understand now where it all comes from. And they were working with what they had. That's the biggest thing I've learned in parenthood is you got to give your parents grace because they worked with the tools they had to parent how they had. And some of them are stubborn and they're not willing to change. So those are different conversations to be had. But oftentimes your parents will get to a point where it's a mutual respect thing, right? And like you realize that, honestly, some days it actually is that serious if you didn't take the chicken out the freezer. Yeah. Like everybody's dinner is ruined, the night is done, and now you took the chicken out too late, so we have to make it or it's gonna go bad. True. So now what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I know
full
that
circle
pain,
moment now.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I get it. So I give as professionals, as entrepreneurs, as parents, whatever I've learned to give people in general more grace because I know there's some days that I'm gonna need it.
Yeah, facts.
And like if you don't give me the grace, I'm gonna tell you, hey, listen, I got this. Okay, I need the grace today. So give grace to get some.
It's crazy all that, and she still blessed you, and she's so great.
Oh, of course. Right. And the thing is, like again, like I think I was like really responsible. Like I paid bills in my mom's crib from when I was like 15
Same.
years old. Like I was like really doing my part. And like I said, the trouble I was getting into was a little bit more so like I wanted to be on road. I wanted to like I was trying to make money. You know what I mean? I was navigating. You know what I mean? So for me, it was a lot of that and just being enamored with like what my friends were doing. And like my mom was very traditional, old school Nigerian, very like, I want to see you at home. I want to make sure you're safe because there's nothing but drugs, gangs, and violence out there. And was that only thing out there? No, but there was a lot of that. And I did battle with it myself, especially with like my pops not being around. So I think for my mom, a lot of it came from a place of fear as to why she wanted to, but like I wasn't a bad kid. Like I got great grades. I was a scholar, more or less. I failed one class all of high school, but that's grade 11 math. And none of you watching can look at me and tell me that grade 11 math didn't have you on your ass, okay? Whether you failed or not, it was a stumper. So other than that, I was all right, but it really did shape me. But the thing is, I'm glad that my mother was on me the way she was, and I didn't get to do some of the things that I didn't get to do, and she was as strict as she was, because she wasn't, I would have ran wild. I would have been on road doing the most. But because in my head, like all intents and purposes, there was a situation with law enforcement involved, and honestly, all I cared about was like, when can I get home? Like you guys can do whatever paperwork, right? You can whatever. When am I getting home to my mom? I don't even care about you guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about them. It was about the respect and fear I had for my mom. So like. And our relationship is amazing now, which is great, because like as in the teenage years, it was rocky, but you know,
rocky roads.
You come to a point of understanding with growth.
So out of that, one thing I kind of want to ask you guys, and I mean, just kind of seeing the evolution of us being the children into being adults and now parents, focusing more so like less about the parental aspect. What are some of the glaring traits that you see in yourself today that you think are a direct result of your parents?
That's a good question.
I'll go first while you guys think about it. So for me, and one thing is, again, like you're saying, like we were parents now. We see, okay, I get what my mom or my dad was talking about now. Like I see it. I get it now.
Yeah.
For me now, the main thing that I identify, I'm like, yo, I'm just like my dad. And bro, my dad is a yapper, bro. And one thing about my dad, like he will make a conversation out of thin air, but what he is personable. And he is amazing at creating relationships out of thin air. And I think I've mastered that from him, of just being able to meet a complete stranger, and by the end of the week we're friends, and you're gonna remember me. I'm memorable, and I'm planting the seed of a relationship that who knows how valuable it may be in the future. And I think that that's the one thing that I've learned in business is like, you want to make as many relationships as possible, because you never know where it's gonna lead you. You never know what reputational instinct is going to come back to bless you. Never mind, it could possibly haunt you if you are not presenting yourself in a positive manner. And my dad, like, there is not a single person in this world that can say they had a negative interaction with my dad. And even just going to the mall with him, he's stopping with people, and you're like, Dad, yo, I'm trying to go, and he's like no, like I want to talk to this person. And he has a natural joy for that, and I see myself every day. I'm like, I just like talking to people. So for example, like my wife will see me on like a trailer load of 7 calls for the day, and she's like, yo, how do you do that? I'm like, you know what? I'm tired, yeah, but I loved every interaction I had today. And at the core of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, that also makes it easy for me to wake up every day and go and grind the way that I do, because at the core of it, I like to interact with people. I like to help people, and I like to create relationships that either might end up paying me today. It might never end up paying me, but I enjoyed it, and it's never time wasted because of it. So that's one thing that I can say, like, that's directly from my dad. How about you guys?
Honestly, I would say compassion and being hospitable. My mother, when it comes to hospitality, like nobody would. Like my mother opened her home to many people. Like me and my sisters, we did a count, and over the course of our like being in Canada, my mom opened her door to 28 different people who lived with us at some point in time.
Damn.
Lived, and I'm talking over a month at least. And other than that, like that aside, other than opening her home, my mom, like she'll open her wallet to people. She'll give people her time, advice, whatever. And my mom is very much like, she's a considerate person, and she wants to be hospitable in the sense of, when you have in abundance, my mom was very much like, if you have, give, because you never know when you need. But aside from you needing, if you have, do you feel good watching other people in need when you can help them? And that really like was something my mother drove home, like growing up. And I see it in myself every single day. Like if I have an excess, like I might be a little too generous sometimes. I might give a little bit too much sometimes. But I always try to put myself in other people's shoes and think to myself like, you know, and I like to do good, not just to receive good, but again, I understand that the world is a lot of bad and there's a lot of darkness out there. So if you can, and it doesn't inconvenience you, do good for somebody else, why not?
True.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's like lend out a helping hand, give an ear, talk to somebody, whatever it is that I can make somebody feel better about themselves today, and I can, you know, make them feel welcome. I'll be honest, because of that same thing, I don't welcome my home to people like that. I'm not having
draw the line
to my kid like that, because like, yo, honestly, I never had privacy and shit growing up.
Yeah.
But I will, like, if I have the change and you are on hard times, I'll pay the money for you to be in a hotel for a week. You know what I mean? I'll put you in contact to get a job. I'll put my name on the line for you to be able to do whatever. I'll do whatever I can, maybe even inconveniencing myself to help you, because I know if I have the ability and it doesn't hurt me, and I like, this is whatever, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I definitely got from my mother.
That's huge.
I think that's very similar to my mom as well. So the one thing that I learned from my mom was going out of my way for others. So I used to always get upset at my mom. I'm like, why are you going out of your way for this person? Why are you doing this, right? So similar to your story, we had a lot of people that stayed with us too growing up, right? But I never understood at that point, because you're a kid, you're like, why is this person in my house? Like, why are they in my room?
Bro.
Why do I have to sleep on the floor? I slept on the floor for like a year, right? And but at that time I didn't really understand it, right? So as I got older, my mom obviously instilled the same values in me, right? She's like, you know, show respect to everybody. No matter how they treat you, don't sink to their level, right? So because a lot of people, you do a lot for them and they don't reciprocate or do the same for you. So as I got older, similar to my mom, like I'd go out of my way for my friends, for my family, but I find that karma's a real thing. And if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today, because a lot of people, I don't think there's a lot of people out there that can say anything negative about me, because I'll never do anybody wrong at the end of the day. Even if they do me wrong, as much as you want to react, as much as you want to do something, it's not in my DNA. I'm just kind of like, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy at the end of the day, right? So, when you ask that question, I had to really think about it. I'm like, what did I learn from my mom or my dad? They're both very similar in that way, where they go out of their way for others. And I find that I've taken that trait away from them. And I wouldn't change it, right?
Yeah.
So, but as a kid, again, I used to find it a little frustrating, because you're like, why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, but as you get older, you're like, okay, you know, at the end of the day, karma's a real thing for me, right? I feel like you create your own karma, and I wouldn't have this good karma if I hadn't done those things and learned those things from my mom.
Facts.
So,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Facts. All things that we kind of had a disdain for as kids, and now we're like, oh shit, you're onto something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm out of questions. I don't know if you guys got any more.
Man, honestly, I was gonna ask. What I wanted to ask you, this is a little bit more to your profession.
Okay.
Yo, you guys really be reading every page of those APSs? so okay.
Yeah.
That's not the exact question.
Yeah.
It's like, do you guys really like I know reading is like, you guys went to school to read.
Basically.
So you really read that, or do you guys have like a program that skims through it? Is it your assistant? Like, who's really doing the reading? And like, what is that like?
Yeah.
How much of your day does reading actually consume?
So I can't speak to like every other law firm or every other lawyer, but if it's like a pre-construction, it's like 60 to 100 pages. Pre-construction agreements have a lot of liability associated with them, right? Because there's like hidden costs, there's extension, there's obviously specific dates that you have to meet for your deposits. Sometimes there's provisions that say that the finishes that you think you're getting, you may not get, because those might not be available. So every agreement is different. So when it comes to pre-construction, we actually read every single page, every single provision. We highlight it, we go through it, we make a summary. Yes, we do have templates to basically go over certain things that are common in pre-construction agreements, but we do go over every single agreement with a fine-tooth comb. We don't delegate it to clerks. There are clerks that do clerical work, but not when it comes to those agreements.
Got it.
But if it's like a simple resale ORIA agreement, like normally the things we look out for like are provisions in the schedule, closing dates, title search dates. But to answer your question in a shorter way, yes, we do go through those pre-construction agreements.
Yo,
and
honestly,
it is a lot of reading.
I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't do it.
You get used to it, right?
I'd be skimming.
And I
I
think
gotta ask the same shit on the insurance policy. Like, you really read
the
Well,
camera off.
I've read it before, but like the contracts are all the same. Like there's no amending
Right.
an
Yeah.
insurance contract
Yeah.
at all, right?
It sounds similar to like a mortgage commitment. Like,
So there's nothing for me to read. My
Yeah.
thing is the amount of things that I need to explain.
Or add, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like guaranteed replacement cost, full replacement value,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So like, and that was my question to you because like you guys get paid to read like pretty much, but I'm like like as a person who like just understands like how long these documents are, I'm just like because like again like you're my lawyer and you were thorough as hell with the whole thing. So like
I appreciate it.
that's an endorsement. But no, like and there are certain things that like you legitimately pointed out where we had to go back and be like, hold on, make sure this is there actually, and they had to be like they almost got away with it.
Yeah.
If you didn't catch it kind of thing. So I think that's important. Similar to you, I think one question that I've always had, I guess when it comes to like the mortgage real estate space is like, how often are you dealing with transactions that you know from the beginning are just, this is actually going nowhere, but I have to still follow through?
So you know what? That's a good question. And I really do try to take like a very honest approach. Because, for example, like when I bought my first property, I had no business in my contract and I had to find the solution. But I really would have wished somebody told me from the beginning what I need to do instead of tiptoeing around it and just trying to like froth it up and sell me a dream, right? So I do tell people like, yo, if this is your intention, it's not gonna work out for you. If you want it to work, this is what you can explore, but the way you currently have it constructed, it's not happening. There are also times where I do give that piece of advice and I do give that counsel, and like the client thinks I'm wrong, or they're like, like I'm the difference though. I'm still gonna proceed, and I'm like, cool. Give me a call when it goes awry, because I know it's going to. So like, for example, like an appraisal or someone's adamant on thinking that they can put down 5% and it's an 800K property. I'm like, you're short on cash. Like, there's no way around this. But like, I do still make it a point to be like, okay, you know what? Like, if you're someone that seems like you're hell bent on making a mistake, I'm just going to position myself to be here when that mistake takes place so I can help you find the solution, whatever that solution might be. But yeah, like there are times where like I just got to go through the motion and it sucks. Yeah. But I mean, again, like not every situation is going to end up being peachy keen and it's going to be picture perfect. Like some people are just, they're stubborn and hard headed, as I once was too. And, you just kind of position yourself to be there when they fall.
So that also brings me to another question with you is, what do you find your people who come to you who are unsuccessful in getting what they're looking for? What is the two biggest obstacles?
And I mean, I'll speak to just because I mean, we're all from our cultures are different, but they're similar. We all have like maybe variances. And the main thing I see is people thinking that like the way that they're saving their money or their finances is okay. And I let them know, okay, like if you're in one of these like situations where like you're having a friend save your money for you, and I know you guys call it a Joe. We call it Podna. Do you guys have something similar in your culture where like
so.
Where people
maybe
like,
it's a group of
it's like a pool of money and somebody gets it every month. So like we all put in $500 a month, right?
Okay.
Month one, I'm gonna get the $1,500. Month two, you're gonna get the $1,500.
Okay.
Month three, he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
passing it around
Okay.
to save money and to deter you from spending your money elsewhere.
Smart, yeah.
It's smart till it's not. And I let them know in advance, okay, like this is cool if this is your way of saving money. But when it comes time to show your down payment and you've received your money back and they see a $60,000 deposit into your account and you can't explain plausibly where it came from, like you're not gonna be able to use the money. And they think I'm joking, or they think like, oh, like, I can explain it some way. They'll accept my explanation of it. You're just not explaining it right. Okay. And then I get that call. I'm like, okay, well, what you have to do is you have to put the money in there and wait 90 days and buy 3 months later, because they're not going to be able to see the money being dropped into your account. But like, that's some of the things that I see constantly. And no matter how much I echo it, it's just not really resonating or really landing. Aside from that, next thing that I really find having to like beat a dead horse on is really just the impact of co-signing. I think, and not even just
you co-signing for somebody, the
for
impact
somebody
it has
else.
on you.
Exactly. So if I'm somebody who wants to, maybe my goal is to buy a house at the end of the year, and Nikhil's like, yo, Roy, can you co-sign for me? I'm trying to buy my house right today. I'm like, yeah, for sure, man. Of course. Not understanding that that's going to derail most likely whatever I intend to do for myself at the end of the year. I see that happen so frequently. and people, and not even because they're not listening to me, but for example, if Nikhil tells me, yo, Royston, co-sign for me today, I promise you, you're not going to be a co-signer by the end of the year. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure you're not a co-signer. If I co-sign with Nikhil today and his value drops on this property for whatever reason, it's going to be a very tough time for me to get off of his mortgage because he can't refinance. There's not enough equity in the property left. So I'm stuck with him. And I'm stuck, meaning I can't do what I want to do, and I'm just pissed. When I could have avoided it by obviously letting Nikhil know, like, hey man, I want to help you, but I can't right now. And another one is not even just buying a house. I see people time after time co-signing on cars, and they're not even driving that car. And it's a car that the person that they co-sign shouldn't have either. And I'm just like, y'all are in bed together on something that neither one of you guys should have been in separately in the first place. And until you guys can absolve yourselves of it, you're cooked. Because, I mean, a car is depreciating by the day. We're not even talking about possible rebound and appreciation, right? Yeah. So if we're talking about the car, like, till one of y'all pay it out or sell it and take the loss on the car, it's going to be impacting you negatively. Yeah. So those are the two things that I see very often that are recurring things that, like, no matter how many times I make note of it and I voice it, it is something that I face on a regular basis.
You know what's so funny about that? I have another question for you, but what's funny about that is I remember when we were closing on my crib in 2022, and my Jetta at the time was giving me giving me, when I say problems, like, yo, I got off the 407 one day, and this is like, yo, we're like two weeks from closing in December. It's cold. This is already after my heat starts to go on the fritz. So I'm getting like lukewarm. It's supposed to be 28 degrees. It's like 21. Yeah. So I'm barely getting any sort of warmth in the winter. Come off the 407, my car starts doing the chicka lights are turning on. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I'm like, whatever, I got to get home, get home. It stops doing it. So it's on and off. I'm like, I need a new car. All I hear in my head, Royce, yo, don't buy anything. You can't close on nothing. You can't take new credit. You can't run a credit report. This is, I didn't even tell him about, like, this is just me rehearing what he's already told me in my head. Like, yo, like, there's no, like, so I'm pretty sure I made reference to it, and he's like, after you close, right? And I'm like, yes, after the closing. I will not buy the car until after closing. So my uncle works at a used car dealership or whatever. So I went to hit him about the car. He's like, oh yeah, we can run your. I said, don't run nothing. I said, understand, when I close, the day after closing, I will be here, but not a day sooner. And had he not been as adamant as he was, there's a possibility that
people want to try things, bro.
Yo, yeah. And I could have, but, you know, thank God I didn't, because I was able to sell that piece of shit car on fucking Clutch for $7 grand. Yo, it was, thank God. And yo, you know what? The whole time the guy was doing the test drive, I was just praying that it didn't do the shit. Don't turn the heat on. Bro, they got out there, and I was like, yo, we're sailing. Literally 2 days after closing, got the new car. Everything was good.
It's funny because I remember exactly what you're talking about, because I mean, it's funny that we all actually been clients of each other here, and I was in the midst of his transaction. Like, we're in a group chat together, and I remember him talking about the car, and I'm just listening to the voice notes as I'm doing whatever, and I hear him. He sounds real fed up with the current car, and I'm like, okay, let me see what he's saying here. Like, I hope you're not about to say, like, oh, I'm so pissed, I'm about to go get a new car, because I know your closing date is in like 2 weeks, and he makes mention of the Acura that he wants, and I hear him make mention of the dealership, and I'm like, you're awfully close to buying a car. So I just want to reiterate to him in the voice in the group chat. I'm like, I hope you know that whenever you're picking up this car, it's the day after closing. Because I've seen too many times where, like, not Robinson, but other clients will be like, my approval's already in. I'm good now. No. Like, you need to close first. You getting your commitment today is not the same as you having your keys in hand. You have to close, get your keys in hand before you do any of that stuff. So I was just, again, I had to make it abundantly clear, because some people think that they can be the exception and slide past on some slick shit.
And it's crazy because the car didn't even last to the closing date. I had to sell that shit early and use my sister's extra car, which was just as bad. But I was like, yo, I don't know how long this car is going to be worth $7 grand on Clutch. So I gotta get this shit off right now. But bro, honestly, like, again, if he hadn't, I might not have, been as cognizant of it. Another thing from a lawyer perspective is, like, man, how often do people ask you for free advice, and how do you navigate that conversation?
So I think it's very popular in this market right now, where, like, a lot of people are struggling, specifically with people that bought, like, pre-construction, and their appraised values are coming back much lower, which you're probably dealing with a lot, right? or people that are going through the power of sales situation. So usually people will call and say like, hey, can I speak to Nikhil? He's just in a meeting right now. Can I set up a consultation? No, just let him know I was referred by so-and-so. So as soon as I hear a referral, I'm like, okay, I got to take care of this client because I don't want to, piss off the referral, obviously, because they're the ones who feed the business. So it happens, I would say, on a daily basis where people call, and if it's from a referral, I'll make time for them. But I'll tell them, like, listen, it's going to be like a 15, 20-minute conversation. If you need me to get involved, if you need me to, like, correspond with another lawyer or another party, obviously we charge for that. Mind you, there are people that we do freebies for, existing clients, existing referrals as well, only because they send us quite a bit of business. But there have been situations where people will be in a tight spot and it's time sensitive and they don't have the funds to pay us. And if we have time, we set it aside, we try to help them the best that we can. But it happens all the time. People call us for free advice all the time. I mean, if I have time, I'll accommodate it, especially if they're like in a tight spot where somebody's like, I'm losing my house tomorrow, right? Can you guide me? And, I feel for them, right? So I'm like, okay, let me jump on a call with them, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Even if it's 30 minutes, let me try to help them out. Maybe I can guide them in the right direction. Here's a litigation lawyer that can help you, right? Or do you want me to send an email to the lender to kind of hold off for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, whatever it is. So it does happen, but if we can help, we do. But if we have other pressing files, like let's say it's month end, right? And we have like 15 closings. I can't push those closings aside because then I'm doing disservice to my clients that are closing.
And paying.
And I don't want them to get sued. I don't want them to lose their property. But it happens all the time.
How often how often are those requests coming from dickheads? Because the way I look at it is this, there's going to be those that you're gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna do you a solid. But I'm sure there's some that want why do I don't need a consultation?
Act entitled.
Sometimes you get clients who they're like, I want to come see you today, and our days are filled. We have signings, we have closings, we have other clients that we're dealing with outside of real estate law as well. And we tell them, we're more than happy to see you in person and address your issue, but we got to schedule a time that works for all of us. So you will meet those clients that are kind of, sometimes outlandish, emotional. And they're trying to dictate your time. But it's you got to take it with a grain of salt, and you got to deal with them in the most professional manner. And we've had clients where they don't like the fact that we can't accommodate their schedule, and they've gone and written a negative review about us, and they're not even technically our clients. They're just they're calling for a consultation or. But it does happen sometimes. I would say maybe once or twice a month, where somebody who's just kind of off their rocker. Like we had one person who called the office and they were looking for legal advice, consistently kept calling, and then they asked for a job, right? And listen, like we're more than willing, and we said send your resume, and they did. And we weren't looking for anybody within that specific area, and they kept calling, kept harassing our staff. And it's just like, how do you deal with someone like this? Something is probably not right with this individual. So you can't blame them either at the same time. And some people are emotional too. It's tough, man. Like dealing with people's emotions is tough because then you're a therapist, right? So
and I was gonna say that's probably like with what I do, like man, when people are getting into insurance, it can and not often. But any given day can open a can of worms in their life, in their situation, because some people are going through, and it actually kind of happened to me, the same health kind of situation I mentioned in 2017. I didn't know what was going on until previously, right before that, because I had applied to get life insurance for myself and I was declined. And I was like, whoa, why am I getting declined? I'm 26 years old. What the fuck is going on? And then I had to go see my doctor because it was like my blood work. They're like, some shit doesn't look right here. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? So I went in and figured it all out. But then it kind of brought me to the point where it was like these are uncomfortable conversations that like I had to have with, at the time, my insurance advisor or the person, because for me, for him it was a little uncomfortable because it was like he's telling me my policy's declined and I'm looking at him like, what? I have no indication of any health concerns. So he's right. So now being an insurance advisor, I find myself in those shoes a lot, like having to deliver bad news that your policy's declined because of a medical reason that you weren't aware of. And then there's the ones that you were aware of and you lied. Those people, I honestly, like, it drives me insane. It's like, Why make us
Yeah,
all
yeah.
go
Yeah,
through this?
wasting everyone's
Because I
time.
can also preface, if you tell me, oh, I have such and such, or I had such and such, I can at least let you know what the possible outcome is
Correct.
going to be.
Yeah. Or I'm not a smoker, and they are
Yeah,
a smoker. Right?
exactly.
Bro, I had a guy tell me, oh, we're in the application. And I almost didn't ask the question because, so I'm like, smoker or non-smoker? He's like, oh, non-smoker. I literally smell the cigarette on him when he walked in my office. And I'm like,
right there.
I'm like, just for reference, because of the amount of insurance that you've applied for, it's an automatic medical. So I would prefer you tell me the truth instead of getting declined because they see it in your system and decline you for misrepresentation. Oh, I'm a smoker. Well, duh. But yeah, like for the uncomfortable part of my job or the difficult part is having to deliver bad news, and also having to uncover parts about people's maybe health history that they don't want to talk about, or even legal history. Because one question on an application is, like, have you ever been charged with a crime in which you're not been pardoned, you're still dealing with, or whatever the case is. So those things can get a little uncomfortable, and you can open a can of worms sometimes. And one of the biggest deterrents I feel like I have, and people won't ever really admit it, is they're afraid to speak about their medical history. They're ashamed of it for whatever reason, or people are afraid, like, and I'm sure, like, and it's a little bit different maybe with you, but not as much with you, is like, people will say, oh yeah, I'll get back to you, or whatever. It's just because they don't have the money. Money is like a lot of people's biggest deterrent.
Yeah.
But it's embarrassing conversation to have. But like, I try to make it comfortable for people to have that conversation because it's not just them. But like, that's one thing in my job. Like, and honestly, like, death is not a sexy topic.
Yeah,
like,
facts.
Like at all. Like, especially when we're talking immigrants now,
Yeah.
because their mentality is completely different. So it's a challenge for sure. But I think that one thing in common, like kind of what we all face, is like we're in the business of dealing with, interacting with, pleasing people, right? And we have to be able to do that at a high level to be successful.
True.
Right? So like, we're in the people business.
It's true.
And to that point, actually, that was actually my final question was, so I wanted to get, like, I want you guys to give a piece of advice to anybody who's looking to enter your particular industry. Like, I think to some degree, we've probably had, a fair share of people reach out saying, like, yo, like, I love what you're doing. I think I want to try that, or I want to get into that space. What's a piece of advice that you either have found yourself giving to those individuals, or you would if someone's like, okay, you know what, like, I like Nikhil's story, like, I do want to look into being a lawyer, or I definitely, like, he's got insurance on lock, like, I would love to take a look at being an insurance advisor. Like, what would be the thing that maybe isn't as clear up front that you'd be like, okay, be mindful of this is one thing you want to focus on if you're exploring this space in the future?
Want to go first?
I would say, like, don't take shortcuts. Be patient, right? A lot of people in my profession, they try to take shortcuts. They try to basically get to, I'm not saying that I'm at, like a high level, but it's taken 10 years to get to where I am right now, right? And sometimes I think lawyers, they basically lose sight of why you got into this profession, right? Like, our job is to basically ensure that people's rights are protected. And sometimes lawyers may do certain things that are outside the realm or outside the scope of the law. And for me, it's like, if you want to get into law and you want to succeed, you got to think about longevity. And the only way to think about longevity is to do things the right way. Be patient, always operate within the realms of the law. And when you're looking at any specific matter, whether it's real estate, whether it's corporate law, whether it's litigation, always do things with your client's interest in mind, right? Don't look out for your pocket. The money will come. In any job, in any profession, the money will always come. But at the end of the day, you got to look out for your client's best interest when it comes to law. So that's what I've done. I've always been told this is the route to take. My mentor actually told me, he's like, never rush the process, right? Be patient, right? If it's rushed, it's not going to be good in the end. Okay. So I would say be patient. Yeah.
Man, for me, I would say, you be prepared to never stop grinding, really, like, because of like the amount of money you can get paid on a deal could be very little, it could be a lot. You need volume in what we do for a living, what I do for a living. You need volume, you need activity. So you got to always be meeting people. You're going to have to cold call, you're going to have to do social media. Be prepared to do every type of marketing there is, and you'll find what works for you, you'll find what's best. I'm a very big proponent of doing everything, but like, maybe I'll spend 20% of my time on social media. Then 50% of my time is cold calling. Not me. I don't do the cold calling like that anymore.
Likewise, RT.
It's just a part of my business that I don't like.
Yeah.
So I've made it very minimal. I would rather do a lot of other things. But don't get me wrong, when times are hard and I got to get back to cold calling, we're getting back to cold calling, right? Be prepared to do every type of activity to get the results. And be flexible. You can't pigeonhole yourself because some months or some seasons, certain things aren't going to work. Like I do a lot of seminars, like employee seminars, but those are hot in the fall. Those are hot in the spring. They're not hot in the summer because people are
I'll do another thing. I'm
right?
not coming in the summer.
And it's not hot in the winter because it's the winter and you vacate, all that other kind of stuff, right? So it's like you got to be flexible. The other thing I'd say to people in my industry is, yo, be educated. Know your stuff, bro. Because like, I'll be honest with you, and like, this is for all the insurance advisors out there, the fly-by-night guys or the whatever, the organizations that don't really do it for the right reasons. Stop doing it because you guys don't know what you're doing. You're selling policies to people who have no business having these policies, but you're doing it for your own self-gain. Stop doing it. Be more educated so you can give real advice, so you're not worried about them going to somebody else and you losing out on the deal because the advice you gave them is gold. Me? Listen, anything I say to my clients, they can Google, they can go to another advisor, they can wherever. It doesn't matter ever because it's thorough, because I've done the learning, I've taken the education seriously, and I know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know, I am not at all afraid to say I don't know. And I think that's the biggest thing because saying I don't know lets people know that, okay, yeah, you're not a bullshitter because the person who knows everything is bullshitting.
Yeah, it's true.
So I make it very clear I have weaknesses, but in this, for the most part, I know this shit.
Yeah.
And the stuff I know, we're gonna make sure that you are as educated as possible. So coming into this industry, be prepared to be educated so that you can educate.
Agreed. Yeah, honestly, I like that, and there's so much strength in saying that I don't know, and also following it with like, I'll find out for you though, and I'll let you know, because again, like you said, like that's not only protecting your reputation, but it's also reinforcing the relationship to build that trust, which is what you're really going to need at the end of the day at a bare minimum. For me, like I think it's no secret, right? Like the real estate space is oversaturated. Like there's too many realtors, there's still too many mortgage agents, like, and it's just, it's become a popular thing, I feel, and it's just been glamorized, and I don't think people really understand what they're getting themselves into. And I think for me, like it's a matter of making sure that you understand, like you said, having the ability to grind, but more so having the self-awareness to know how it is that you're going to separate yourself. Because like, again, if you're in a field that is flooded, okay, the other day, one of my friends put real in the search tab on Instagram and just showed, you saw it, it was in the group chat, and it was just 4 screenshots long of realtors that popped up immediately. And it's just like, how do you stand out in that alone? Never mind the entire pool for wherever you are. And you have to figure out how you're going to stand out. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to build trust. And at the end of the day, we're in businesses and industries where people do business with who they like and who they trust and who they are comfortable with. And if you don't have the knowledge and you don't have the wherewithal and you don't have the grit and the grind, why is anyone going to trust you with, again, these are all very important facets to anything. Insurance, hella important. Law, hella important. Your real estate transaction is probably gonna be the biggest thing you ever buy. Hella important. And what's gonna make you the person that somebody chooses of their own free will to be like, I trust that person, I'm picking them. Bingo. Because there's no shortage of other options. So and that's why like I take what I do so seriously, and why you guys do as well, because you understand A, the gravity of the situation, and B, there's a lot on the line for this other person. And I don't want to be the person that messes that up for you. And I don't think people really understand that concept. They think it's, oh, okay, well, yeah, I can drop a Mercedes-Benz and I could be on the My City version of Selling Sunset. No, like this isn't a game. This is not for likes and Instagram reels. Like this is for real life. And there are real people on the other end of these transactions. Yep. And once you understand that, you'll take what you're doing seriously and then also figure out, okay, how can I be above board and make myself stand out while also maintaining the professionalism that I need?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Nah.
We're on 0%. 0%.
That
one's got some juice. So.
Yo, tell Nikhil to get his shit off. I'm showtime.
Is kind of like, just in case we end up doing the long version on YouTube. Just kind of like wrap it up.
Yeah, just keep the option open. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I don't really have a name for this. I just
your personal. Drop your
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm Royston Simon, mortgage agent in the GTA area, going on year 5 of being in this space. I do it all from purchases, refinances, figuring out whatever you got to do to get into the market and thrive. And you can find me at financial.solutions on Instagram and TikTok.
Man, for me, I'm your local insurance man. I do the life and living benefits insurance, so life insurance, disability, critical illness. I also help people whenever it comes to pensions and pension plan understanding of those things. Insurance involves a lot of tax planning, so there's a wealth of knowledge around taxation as well. So that's what I'm here for. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at robinson.a.senior, and senior is SR because I got a junior.
That's good. My name is Nikhil Bajaj. I'm a real estate lawyer at Marathon Law. We do everything from real estate closings to corporate law, which encompasses incorporations, minute books. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Bajaj, NIKHBAJAJ. And yeah, you can Google Marathon Law. Whenever you guys have any questions or concerns, you can always just send me a DM. Thank you.